At Capella University, you're in control of your education. With the game-changing FlexPath format, you can set your own deadlines and move at your own pace. The faster you move, the more you save. Visit capella.edu to learn more.
Attention foodies, Discovery Plus has what you're hungry for. With new original series and a supersized collection of favorites, Discovery Plus has the largest collection of food shows anywhere. With new exclusives like Bobby and Giada in Italy and Luda Can't Cook. The streaming service for everyone hungry for more. More cooking, more competition, more originals. All for only $4.99. Discovery Plus is the streaming home of food, plus so much more. Start your free trial.
Hello listeners, and welcome to this week's episode of The Cult Vault. For this instalment, we are going to be looking into multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes. For this particular interview, I enlisted the help of anti-MLM advocate Roberta Blevins, who has her own podcast called Life After MLM. I will post a link of the show in the episode notes, but for now, here is Roberta. Hello, Roberta, and thank you so much for joining me on the show today. We're going to be delving into a new topic for me, which is multi-level marketing schemes, or sometimes known as pyramid schemes. And you were a part of one of these, and you're here to hopefully tell us all about it today. So would you like to start by introducing yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, hi. First of all, thanks for having me. I love coming and talking on different shows, especially that have different reaches. Usually I'm on anti-MLM podcasts, so it's really nice to be on a different topic and maybe be able to educate some of your listeners, and maybe some of them will open their eyes today and go, oh my God, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. Yeah.
I think so. So my name is Roberta Blevins. I'm an anti-MLM advocate. I've been going at it since I left the multi-level marketing world in 2017, and I officially started speaking out in January of 2018, as soon as all of those contracts were signed and null and void, and I was free from all of it. I began speaking out. It wasn't really my intention to speak out, but certain things happened, and I decided hell hath no fury. So I've been doing that for a while. I've got, you could Google my name. It's a rabbit hole for at least a week, I think, if you're bored.
Yeah, I recently watched a documentary you appeared on by Vice, which is called "Why Women Are Quitting Their Side Hustle," and it specifically looks at the MLM group that you were a part of, which was LuLaRoe. So right. Anybody that would like to watch that is actually available on YouTube to watch. And it's a kind of a very brief look into how multi-level marketing schemes work and the detrimental effect that they can have on people. But it's only short, so it obviously is only kind of the tip of the iceberg, kind of bringing it to people's attention without going into too much detail. So
they were actually with me for 3 days, and only 15 minutes of it is about me. I mean, they were with me. We traveled all over Southern California. We went up to the head offices of LuLaRoe. Wow. We were chased off the property by security guards. Ooh. I was like, oh my God, this is a cult. It was incredible. And there was a lot of stuff that I said that wasn't able to make it in just because of legal. At the time, I made this documentary in 2018, the end of 2018. And so there was a lot of stuff they couldn't get through legal, and there were not as many people speaking out about this company. So a lot of the stories that we said and claimed couldn't be corroborated. A lot of stuff has changed since then, luckily. And I hope that the future of this story can actually be told better and exposed a lot more, because it really is like just a rotten onion, and the layers you just keep going. There can't be more. And they're like, but wait, there is.
Yeah. You kind of do get that feeling when you're watching the piece from Vice that it's I guess that's kind of where the term pyramid scheme comes from, because it's just layers and layers and layers, and it just doesn't seem to ever end. So could you give us sort of a brief description and history of what LuLaRoe is and kind of where it came from?
Okay, so LuLaRoe I think it started in 2014. It is technically a multi-level marketing company, which is the government's legal way of saying pyramid schemes we allow. And in fact, LuLaRoe actually was a pyramid scheme for like the first 5 years of its life. We can get into more about that later as well. But it really actually was a physical pyramid scheme for about the first 4 or 5 years until they changed some of their policies in 2017, 2018, right around the time that I saw everything that was happening and kind of imploding. But for somebody who would say, what is LuLaRoe? It was a clothing company, or it is a clothing company that basically we sold men, women, and children's clothes online on Facebook. You have Facebook parties or parties in home. It's one of those, business in a boxes where you work your own business from your home. Like you can be your own job, you be your own CEO, own your own business kind of stuff. None of that's actually true. But that's the way that these companies are touted to the public, is what a great way to make an extra $1,000. And LuLaRoe is the exact same thing, except they were known for really brash, wild prints and patterns that were limited edition. And so having that limited edition supply and demand, that literally the demand is all internal and there is no external demand outside of this group, really. That's too big. But that's how it started. And I think that's where the frenzy created. And that's probably what most people know LuLaRoe for, those really brightly crazy patterned leggings.
Right. Okay. And at the top of this pyramid, so to speak, is there like a figurehead or person that you could look at like an individual and say they are the head of LuLaRoe?
Yeah. So the way that they have it is it's actually a husband and wife team. They are the Stidhams. It's Mark and Deanne Stidham. They are the owner and CEO of LuLaRoe. I believe personally, to me, that Mark is sort of the one that is complicit in the whole thing. Like he really knows what he's doing and he really knows what's going on. I don't think Deanne is maybe as complicit. I think she's more of like a figurehead, more of like a, oh, it looks so great, everybody join, it's super easy, like, oh my God, I'm so relatable. That's sort of her to me. I never really dealt with him too much, but I would say that if you're looking for the mastermind of this, it's probably Mark.
Okay. And I mean, and I saw briefly on the Vice documentary that there were times where some of the people involved in selling some of the products by LuLaRoe would come into contact with Deanne, and it would almost be like a starstruck moment where, like an inspirational sort of, oh my goodness, I've just spoken to the person who's at the top of all of this. Was that an experience that you had at any point?
Oh yeah. Here's the thing with multi-level marketing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that multi-level marketing has been around since World War II. Like that's when it started. That's when it really started. Direct sales and things like that were normalized before that. Door-to-door salesmen. Those sort of sales companies have now morphed into multi-level marketing after they've been created. But before that, direct sales and door-to-door selling was very normal. And so multi-level marketing was sort of born from the door-to-door selling and like the war and needing this thing to this American dream is what they're selling, right? So for anybody to even understand, like multi-level marketing in pretty much every single one of our lives that's listening has been normalized in our lives so very easily. And so the grooming of multi-level marketing started so long ago for most people. Like I remember like my mom like sold Mary Kay and my aunt sold Mary Kay and I knew people that were selling Avon and all of this stuff in my life. And so for me, like my mom bought Cutco knives and my mom like the stamping things and all these different businesses throughout my entire childhood. So for me, multi-level marketing was very, very normalized. And I was groomed to think it was a legitimate business from as early as I can remember.
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not that way. And it's very insidious and incestuous. I guess I'm going to make a word right there.
We were talking about Dion and kind of where she kind of might pop up and how you might kind of get more invested in the work that you're doing by coming into contact with those people.
So like I'm saying, so you're groomed that these businesses are legitimate from the beginning. So when somebody approaches you and it's like, oh my God, I think you'd be amazing, you're like, oh my God, maybe I would be amazing. And so I actually went to one of these recruiting events before I had even signed up with the girl that I was planning on signing up with. And it was here locally. And I think we had to drive like an hour or so. And I remember showing up and I wasn't wearing any LuLaRoe. I didn't own any of it at this time. And I'm sitting there and everybody in this room is just decked head to toe in LuLaRoe. And everybody's just like wearing, literally, if you were to look at every single print that LuLaRoe ever had, like everyone in the room was wearing like the best of the best of the best. Like nobody was wearing clowns and Humpty Dumptys. Everybody was wearing like the most sought after stuff. It looked very promising and beautiful. And oh my God, those roses are gorgeous. And there at this was Deanne,
right?
Who's there. And you're thinking, oh my God, if this, like, she's here, is that who created LuLaRoe? Is that who that is? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's her. Oh, I need to go say hi to her. I need to introduce myself. And I'm the kind of person that's like, if I'm going to put my time and energy into something, like I'm going to put my time and energy into it. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to full-ass it. So for me, I was like, I'm going to go introduce myself. I'm going to tell her I'm thinking about joining. I'm going to tell her, all this stuff. And it's exactly what you expect. Oh my gosh, you're going to join. Why haven't you joined yet? Oh my God, you're such a firecracker. Look at you. You're so cute. You'd be so good at this. I'm like, you know nothing about me. And she's telling me that I would be amazing at this business. She's telling me that I'm the cutest thing she's ever seen. She's telling me that, oh my gosh, you have so much energy. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And so that's the sort of person she is. And so, then I'm going to go back and tell, oh my God, I met Deanne. And when I met Deanne, she told me I was amazing and cute and adorable, blah, 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 blah. And so everybody's like, oh my God, I want to meet Deanne so that she can tell me I'm cute and amazing and adorable too. And as LuLaRoe grew, what you would notice when you would go to these events, because I hit a leadership position where I would show up to help set up these events and speak at these events and be around. We had to actually set up a photo booth for photos with Deanne. At one point, right? Like, you need to set up this backdrop and create this line because people are going to come. And I'm like, they're coming to learn about the business. Well, yes, but most of the people coming here want to meet Deanne. And so I just remember like having to set up these photo booths and these lines so that people could just come just to take a picture with her. And that was one thing where I was like, what is with the false idol worship? She's just a lady that said, let's sell leggings on the internet. Like, she's not curing cancer or like discovering, animals we thought we were extinct that are living in crazy places we didn't expect. She's just a normal person who, is selling leggings. Like, the false idol worship was really crazy. And I didn't ever compare it to a cult. When I was in it, I was like, look at everybody that loved Deanne so much. Like, I love Deanne, and oh, isn't this so good? And everybody's so happy, and she's going to change everyone's lives. And, like when you're in it, it's a totally different experience.
But all of those things you said there could be applied to people that followed the likes of Jim Jones and Charles Manson.
Exactly.
These people have promised they're going to change the world, and you believe what they're saying 100%. Wholeheartedly, and I'm not trying to say here that Deanne's going to go out and commit atrocities in terms of murder or conspiracy to commit murder. Maybe she will. I don't know. I don't know the woman, but what the point I guess I'm making is that you were not comparing this to a cult, or if somebody would have said to you, this sounds like a cult, you were like, well, no, because Deanne's a good person and cult leaders aren't good people. Obviously, when you're under the influence, they are good people in your eyes. So that's the point. That is the point I am making to anybody who would like to challenge me on what I just said. So
right. You really are. You're blinded and you're told so many stories about how this person changed their lives. Like you'd go to these trainings and these recruitment things, and it was literally like the people you were watching were talking all about how their lives sucked so bad, and they were broke, and they're on assistance, and they could barely rub two pennies together. And then all of a sudden Deanne comes into their life with this amazing opportunity. And now they're building their lake house and, getting a new car, and their children are in private school, and it's all the things that they ever wanted. And you're sitting there going, yeah, I want that too. And it's, again, it's selling that dream, that American dream. And like they all talk about how great Deanne is. Everyone's like, she's so great. She's the reason I have all of this. If it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for her. And it's this cadence that you then all of a sudden you start realizing anytime anything good happens to you in multi-level marketing, it's because of her. And anytime anything bad happens to you, it's because I wasn't working hard enough. Okay. Or I didn't want it hard enough.
And where do you think that mentality comes from? Is it something that is kind of ingrained in you throughout your time being involved?
Here's the thing with multi-level marketing. I mean, I was with LuLaRoe. I was also with a company called It Works for like 3 months, and another company called Modere for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I very quickly realized that all of these businesses are exactly the same. They just have a different product and a different look to them. They're all the same kid trick-or-treating at your house in a different Halloween costume. He's just changing on the driveway and coming back. So for me, I was like, these are all the same. And that's, it took me 3 of them to realize that. So to answer your question, multi-level marketing is just one giant cult umbrella with like 100 thousands of many, many cults underneath them that all follow the exact same structure that was put into place right after World War II with the first MLM that was ever created. That was called Neutralite. It actually was found to be a pyramid scheme and was dissolved, but it actually also spawned the 2 top recruiters of Neutralite became the creators of Amway. And then Amway actually absolved and brought in Neutralite into their fold. And so Amway is sort of like the grandfather, great grandfather, whatever you want to call it, of multi-level marketing. And every single company is structured after Amway, which was structured after Neutralite, which was a pyramid scheme. So every single company is structured exactly the same. It doesn't matter. So everyone is taught that the owner is, the answer to your any of your questions and any of your problems is this company is going to solve them. This person that created this company is going to solve all of your problems and give you everything that you've ever wanted. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's LuLaRoe. It doesn't matter if it's Amway. It doesn't matter if it's Avon or Herbalife or Kirby vacuums or like Cutco knives. Like they're all the same exact structure. Multi-level marketing is a formulaic equation. You just plug it in and it quote unquote works. But it doesn't.
And it when doesn't you work. Go to this event and you're not dressed in LuLaRoe and everybody else is, and you're thinking about signing up, and then Deanne walks in and you're like, I'm going to introduce myself to her and tell her that I'm thinking about joining. When she has that reaction to you, does that seal your decision to join or not? Do you think there's a lot of people in the same situation that are going, maybe thinking about becoming a part of it, have that experience, and then that seals the deal? I'm signing up to LuLaRoe.
Yeah. And, I actually even experienced at that training, the toxic negativity and the mean girl aspect that actually happened to me while I was there too. And I was like, whatever, some people are just mean. And I totally wrote it off, where I should have been like, I don't want to be in any company that thinks this person is anybody should be listening to.
Yeah.
And so I had experienced that while I was sitting in this training, not even signed up yet. And someone is already being a total, whatever word you want to use to me. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. But still, when I met Deanne, she told me, I said, I'm thinking about joining. I actually have a couple friends that would want to join with me too. She's like, oh my God, you already have a team and you haven't even joined yet. Oh my God, you're so amazing. Like you're going to be such a firecracker. You're going to be my little Spitfire. And I was like, okay, and I was like, oh my God, she sees in me what I've always wanted someone to see in me. And this total stranger sees it in me. And again, they're grooming you. They're making you feel as if you're totally the best thing that's ever happened, and they have to need you. They need you. You're such an asset. I remember I had been a blogger before. And when I had told these girls that were trying to recruit me, they're like, what do you do now? And I was like, well, I'm a blogger. Oh my God, we need your experience. We need your blogging experience. Are you good with social media? Oh, we need you. We've never had a blogger before. Oh my God, this would be so amazing. Imagine what we could do with your knowledge. And so it was that sort of stuff where I'm like, wow, like these people actually value me for what I have.
Yeah.
And no one else is.
So there's no one saying anything. Love bombing happening before you've even joined.
So much love bombing and so much grooming. I remember they're like, come over and look at my inventory. I'll give you my discount so you can try this. Like, come try it. And, oh, I got this for you. And there was always, let me take you out to lunch and we can all answer all your questions. And we'd go somewhere fancy. And it was like, order a glass of wine. It's fine. I got this, girl. I'm going to take care of you. And you know what? In 2 months, when you're doing the same, you'll be able to do the same thing for someone that you're going to recruit and that's going to join your team. So just remember that, and just pay it forward. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. Because all of the answers I'm getting are on the surface exactly what I want to hear and make complete total sense. But again, if you think about it for more than 5 seconds, you're like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right.
No. Yeah. But sometimes if, when it's like the expression that sounds too good to be true, sometimes people just want something good in their lives. So they're like, negative thoughts, I'm not going to listen to you because I just, I need something that is too good to be true. Right. But so what were the events that led up to you thinking about joining, and then how did you go about actually becoming a part of the company?
So the first thing that happened was I had been with It Works like a year before that. So I had really experienced that whole high pressure, why aren't you selling? You haven't sold anything, like kind of stuff. So I'd already really experienced that sort of high pressure sales. And so I was like, I don't want to be a part of a pyramid scheme. Like, I don't want to be a part of one of those scammy businesses. Like, I don't like that. And again, like these companies, they're really good at disguising themselves. That's a lot of times if you see them and someone's like, this thing is so amazing. You see it on Facebook. You're like, what are you using? And they're like, I'll PM you, girl. Like, that's because they don't want to tell you what it is, because they don't want to give you any time to Google it yourself and get any sort of negative information about them at all. So I was like, I don't want to be a part of that company. And I was on Facebook and a friend of mine was bragging about some cute little flowered leggings that she had. And at the time I was a mom and I was sitting at home wearing sweatshirts and leggings. And I was like, those are kind of cute. And she's like, oh my God, they're from this company called LuLaRoe. And this was in like December. No, this was in like October of 2015. So like almost 6 months before I actually even joined. When I talk about the grooming, it's like, it's there, right? They're just telling you what you want to hear until you sign that document.
Right.
So she wasn't even in it, but she was like, oh my God, there's unlimited opportunity here. Like the potential is amazing. It's ground floor. Like this company's going crazy. And then right after she told me about it, I started hearing about it kind of other places. It's like when someone's like, have you ever seen that commercial? And you're like, no. And then all you see is that commercial. And you're like,
or you get a new car and then you realize that everybody else drives
everyone
the same
has
car.
Your same car. You're like, I didn't think anyone
There's definitely a word for that. I can't think of what it is, but there is definitely a word for it.
So it's just sort of like the way that it was. And I started seeing LuLaRoe everywhere. And so I started seeing these like, join the opportunity, get all your questions answered on this call. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything Tuesday at 2:00. I'll call into this call. And I remember like I was doing dishes or prepping dinner and I had the phone in my pocket and I had my earphones in, my little earbuds, and I'm doing stuff and I'm listening to this call and all I'm feeling is like empowered. And I'm feeling like, oh my God, yes, these people are talking about how I feel. These people are living the life that I know I can live and achieving the goals that I know I can achieve. And you're hearing these stories after stories of like people that were way more destitute than I was at the time, doing way better than I had ever had in my entire life. And I was like, oh my God, if they can do it, I can do it too. And, you know, you get that feeling like if they can do it, I can do it too. Okay. So then I got the bug and I was like, I want to look into this. I started Googling, like, is LuLaRoe a scam? Is LuLaRoe a pyramid scheme? Is LuLaRoe fake? Is LuLaRoe a bad idea? I couldn't find anything because LuLaRoe was so new. It had only been around for about a year. It was so new that everything I found was just praising the company.
Right.
Because they were a pyramid scheme at the time. And everybody's like, I'm making $100,000 a month. This is insane. This is crazy. You need to get on this train before, you know, before you can't get on it anymore. I mean, there's this like, you have to do this or you're going to miss out. If you don't do this now, you're going to regret it later. And that ate at me so much. I couldn't sleep at night. And I was thinking, like, if I had it, I could run my Facebook group like this, and we could do sales on this day, and I could call it this, and oh my God, and I could do this, and I could do giveaways, and all in my head all the time, constantly thinking about what if I join this business. And I remember asking my husband at the time, and I said, I think I want to do this. And he was like, I don't know. This sounds like a lot of money. And like, you have a lot on your plate and like, you don't need to be doing all this extra stuff. And I was like, but I can help us. Like, I can make this money. We can save faster. We can buy a house faster. And like, we can do this. And I mean, I remember wearing him down, and finally he's like, fine, if you want to do it, fine. Like, you know, to the point where he was like, this is never going to, like, you're going to be obsessed about this until I say, go ahead. Cause I didn't want to do it without his blessing. And it really was like, oh, I can do this. Just trust me. I know I can do this. It's going to be great. And at that point I had reached out. I had decided that I wanted to be on someone's team that was, if not local, at least in my same state, because all of the states in the United States have different rules about everything and taxes and all this different stuff. And so I was like, I want to be able to ask the person that's above me, that's like in charge of me, things specific to California. And so I started reaching out, looking for someone that was in California where I'm at. And I found this woman, and she was a mega recruiter. She had YouTube videos like crazy. Like, I mean, seriously, she was telling me, oh my God, YouTube videos are the way to go. So many people contact me. And so she ended up talking to me and saying, where are you from? And I said, San Diego. And she goes, I have a girl in San Diego. Let me get her for you really quick.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, what? I want to be on your team. Like, and she goes, yeah. Well, you'll be on my team by extension, but you're going to be under this girl who's local to you. So you have someone who's local.
Right.
I thought that's a great idea. Local's even better than just California. Like, city specific's better than state specific. What I didn't know at the time was she was building her team and moving me into a place that would benefit her the most. And it wasn't under her, it was under somebody else. So that she could build up that leg and get residual income that way.
Right.
I didn't understand that at the time. So I said, okay. So then I'm talking to the two of them for like months, and they're grooming. I said, my husband still hasn't said yes. My husband still hasn't said yes, blah, blah, blah. They're sending me to groups. I added you to this group. Show your husband how everything sells so fast. Do this, for months until, like I said, my husband was like, fine.
Join. So they were wearing you down. You were wearing
they were
him
wearing
down.
them. They were wearing me down. I was wearing him down. And he was like, just do it. I don't care anymore.
Yes.
Stop talking about it.
And was there a financial obligation that came with your commitment to the company?
Of course there is. That's the product is how they get around not being a pyramid scheme. So instead of me just giving them money to join this opportunity of money recycling, I give them money and they give me a product in return and say, here's the product you have. Literally the only difference, exact same thing otherwise. And so, there was all these different levels that you could buy. Here's the thing. Most multi-level marketing companies are like $99. So with LuLaRoe being in the thousands of dollars, one, I was like, oh, can't be a multi-level marketing company. It's way too expensive. This is for people who are serious about building a business, serious about opening their own boutique, serious about wholesaling and retailing. This is not somebody that just wants to get a discount on clothes. So not a ton of people are going to join for that fact alone is what I thought. I was wrong, but that's what I thought. So I was like, okay. And then you ask, well, that's kind of a lot. And they say, well, how much do you think it would cost if you were to open up your own boutique by sourcing your own stuff? The answer is actually less. It is less. I didn't know that. And I was trusting these people to tell me the truth. And they were lying to me because when they had asked, they were lied to. And the lie gets perpetuated. And people honestly believe that these are truths. they have the faith in the company and a lot of prosperity gospel and a lot of religious undertones where you're like, oh, okay, well, God will provide for me if I just pay the money then. Okay, I see.
Right.
That's how it works. All right. So there was like a couple different tiers. There's different tiers now. It's a lot less now. Again, now that it's no longer technically a pyramid scheme, it's less now. But when I joined, there were 3 different packages.
Right.
One was around 5,000, one was around 7,000, one was around 9,000.
Okay.
And again, asking, well, why does it need to be so much? And they're like, well, you get all these clothes and you can start selling the day you get your clothes. You can make your money at the second you get your clothes. So if you were going to open up a boutique, you would need all these clothes on hand. And you go, that makes sense. Okay. Again,
right. So
the basic answer to satiate you.
Yeah, the point is then that you spend this money to buy this job lot of clothes, and then they belong to you.
Yes.
So you can charge however much you want for them and sell them in any way you want. Right. Okay. No. So that's interesting then, isn't it?
Right. So when you sign up for these multi-level marketing companies, because they are illegal, there are so many arduous, tiny little rules and loopholes that you have to follow, or the government will come after you.
Right.
But again, the government is in cahoots with multi-level marketing. So the government just says, bad, give us money and we'll tell you that you can keep going.
Right.
And that's what it is. Like, that's really honestly what happens. So it's like, you have to buy all these clothes and you think that you're doing the right thing and you think that you're going to get this return. And in the very beginning, it was like that. In the very beginning, before all these people joined, I was getting good prints and I was selling good prints, and people were freaking out and going, I need to get on this opportunity. I want to join your team. Like, I never recruited anybody. I had 75 people under me and my entire team when all was said and done. But I didn't recruit any of them other than being like, oh my God, how are you doing this? I'm going, well, this is what I'm doing. And they're like, oh my God, I want to join.
Yeah.
So I presented the opportunity when asked, but I never said, you need to join. You've got to do this. I knew that the cost was a lot, and I never wanted to convince anyone to spend that much money. That wasn't a guarantee. I understood that it wasn't a guarantee. I didn't understand how much it wasn't a guarantee, but I did understand that nothing in life is a guarantee. Mm-hmm. And again, any questions that you have, you're given this canned script where you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you disseminate that information. Just like any other cult. So just like any other cult, there's like texts and speak and indoctrination things. And
it starts off really well.
And it starts great. But the business model is not sustainable just in multi-level marketing in general.
Right.
So you have to have the cult aspect to keep people in. Because if there wasn't this cult-like community with the toxic positivity and the love bombing and the shaming and the guilt tripping, then people wouldn't stay. Yeah. People would get in and go, I'm not making any money, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not making any money.
After you've had to put such a large amount of money into begin with.
And then another thing that keeps people is sunk cost fallacy. I don't know if you guys ever talk about that on your podcast, but it's basically the belief that what you have is worth more than it is. And so it's like, well, I can't quit. I have to sell I have to make $10,000 because that's what I've invested. And it's like, but what you have isn't worth that. Nobody wants what you have.
Yeah.
It's like when you fix up a car and put all this money into it and it's still not worth anything and you never want to sell it because you've put so much into it. And it's like, it's a money pit at this point. Like, you're not going to get your money back. There is no truth that what you have is worth what anyone says it's worth. It's worth what people are willing to pay for it. And so there's that, like, well, you have so much inventory, you're never going to be able to make your money back if you quit.
I guess there's the way of looking at that in terms of not financially or through like the monetary aspect of it, but there's also the how much you've confided personally, how much trust you've given somebody, how much of yourself you've handed over, how many years you've committed to a cause. So I guess if you're talking about sunk cost fallacy in that way, there's also the like, well, I've been a Jehovah's Witness for 20 years. So how will I get those 20 years back? I might as well just stay at this point because I've given so much of my life to this cause that leaving it now would be like starting over from scratch. So
from
I
square
guess
one, right?
There is that way of looking at it as well.
And there's also people in multi-level marketing that will decide that this company isn't for them, and they'll go to a very similar company that sells a very similar product. So there's a lot of clothing MLMs. A lot of people left LuLaRoe and went to sell at these other MLMs thinking it would be different, realizing it was all owned by the same family and it was not ever going to be any different. But a lot of people leave, again, with the sunk cost fallacy, like, I've built up this group. I have this social media. Everybody follows me. I'm a quote unquote influencer. People are going to want to know what I'm up to. If I can't sell these vitamins, I'm going to sell these vitamins instead and claim, well, these are better for you. So throw away all your old vitamins because those vitamins are gross. These vitamins are the best ones. And continuing that cycle in a new multi-level marketing company, I find that the survivors that I talk to, it takes them 3 to 5 multi-level marketing companies to really make it click that they're all the same.
Yeah.
I know that's not the same with cults, because I don't know how many people like leave one and jump to another, but like these companies are little mini cults. And so you're getting all of the psychological aspect and feeling bad about yourself and the PTSD and everything from being in these, but you don't realize it's a cult. So you leave it and you join a new one. And I always say, out of one frying pan and into a new frying pan. It's like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Which is why, you know, that we really do want to raise awareness about these aspects that are in this. And
I guess at the end of it,
I think is the answer.
People are just, when you've seen some people achieve a certain lifestyle that you're striving for, and you know it's possible, you know, you join one MLM and you realize that that's not working, but you have to get to that, you know, that American dream is within your grasp, because you know, you've seen people do it, and you kind of, at that point, you've almost like kind of trained yourself into believing that
it's possible
one way or another. You can get there. You just have to try all of these different different groups. And when you mentioned the love bombing before you'd even joined, you know, people would say, oh, let me take you to this fancy restaurant, drink this, you know, expensive glass of wine. It's fine. It's on me. Is there an ulterior motive with that, in they want you to come and work as part of their team? Or is it just trying to get you to join in general?
Well, so I like to call it the FOMO, you know, the fear of missing out.
Right.
So when you're being recruited and groomed by these companies, they are literally telling us to do that. That's one of the things they say. Oh, you want to get people to join? Like, you have to show them how great your life is.
Okay.
And when the way that you tell you, it doesn't seem predatory, but when you're on the outside and I repeat this, I'm like, oh my God, how predatory was that? They like to tell us, well, you need to find a hole and then fill it. Go through your social media, respond to people, talk to people, like things. If anybody complains about anything that the product you carry can help them with, message them. It's not predatory. You're trying to help them. You're trying to better them. You're trying to bless their lives the way that our company has blessed yours. Right. And so these people are reaching out and they're recruiting, but they don't think they're being predatory. They think that they're just being authentic. And that's what influencers do. And this is how you build your business organically, is by talking to 10 new people a day. And these tactics don't work, and they're scammy, and they're gross, and they're predatory. And I don't think they have the intended result. To me, it's like they create these posts so that you feel bad about your life not being as good as my life. The only reason for me to be posting that I'm at Disneyland standing in line on a Tuesday afternoon, drinking a margarita because I work from home and own my own business, is so that you feel bad that you're not standing in line at Disneyland on Tuesday drinking a margarita too.
Yeah.
The other thing I like to remind people is there's always this, like you said, like there's someone, you know, that's done it. There's somebody that's successfully done it.
Yeah.
Someone on your team above you has done it. And everybody's talking about this $1 million earner. Oh my God, the person on my team earned $1 million. They're the one person that earned $1 million. It's amazing. They were the first. They're on my team. You get the expertise of this person. And someone else is like, I know $1 million earner too. And she's on my team too. And she's amazing. They're all talking about the same person.
Right.
It's the same $1 million earner. She's literally at the top of the pyramid, and every single one of you are underneath her in some way. It is the same person that everybody is saying it's achievable because I know somebody. Well, I know somebody too. Well, I know somebody too. It's the same person. 1% of people in multi-level marketing make money. 99% lose.
And when you signed up,
statistically proven for the past 50, 60 years, so many times by so many mathematicians and so many independent people and so many anti-MLM advocates, it has been proven so many times that exponentially you cannot recruit. After you recruit a certain amount of people, like after the 13th round, you literally run out of human beings on earth. So it is not able, this dream that they're creating and saying it's possible. It's not possible. It's just not. I'm horrible with math. And I've looked at the numbers
Me too.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm reading this book right now that's about multi-level marketing. And there's an example in here about exponential math to just so people can understand how exponential math works. And they talk about a penny. And you say, would you rather have $1 million cash right now or a penny that doubles its value every day for 30 days? And most people would say $1 million, like a penny's not worth nothing. But after about 27 days, the penny hits $1 million.
Yeah.
And at 30, you're about 5.5 million at 30 days with a penny that doubles itself. So after 30 rounds of doubling, you're 5 times more than what I offered you at the beginning. It is physically impossible to recruit and build your team this way because there are not enough people on earth to do so.
And when you officially joined, which was what was the package that you went for in the end?
Oh, well, of course I bought the biggest one because I'm ridiculous and stupid. I mean, I'm not. I was part of a scam. I mean, this is the whole thing. Like, I'm super, super open about everything that happened because I don't ever want anybody to fall for this. And I really want to be authentic and open and honest about it because what's the point of me like not telling the truth? So yeah, I did. I was like, look, I'm serious about this business. Again, like I didn't think it was a pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing because everything that had the telltale signs of multi-level marketing was different other than the building of the team, which is the main multi-level marketing sign, which I should have known, but I didn't. I didn't. I was vulnerable. My father had passed away. I had just gotten married. I had a young child. Like I was very vulnerable. I had a lot of life changes very quickly in my life. And I was very easily susceptible to somebody telling me I was amazing and me believing it because that's all I wanted to hear desperately was that somebody was proud of me and somebody thought I was worth something. Well, that wasn't in my normal realm, right?
It's
like
this,
someone else
absolutely. It's the same as the people that you said you know once you'd moved up through the ranks almost, that you would hear potential new people coming on board who would say like, I don't have 2 pennies to rub together. I'm looking for something that can change my life. So you're all in this transitional period. You're all seeking something that is going to improve where you are financially or mentally or with your well-being or you know, through the grieving process. What can I direct my attention to because I'm going through these motions of grief. So you buy the $9,000.
So I buy the biggest package because the biggest package, and here's where the frugality and like the business savvy person inside of me. If you bought the $9,000 package, and clearly this wasn't a ploy to get anyone to buy the $9,000 package, but if you bought the $9,000 package, you got like 25 free items, and they were high ticket items. Right. And I was like, well, I can add that on, and those are $48 each. So I'm making $50 per thing. I'm getting half of that back. Like that's a lot of money. Like I still have some of those free items that never sold. I still have them. I kept a lot of this stuff for other reasons we'll talk about later on. But I did keep a lot of this stuff because I just knew. We'll just leave it at that for right now. I just knew. And so I kept things.
Yeah. And what does it look like? You have to decide on like a business name for yourself, like a online shop name or physical shop name. How did you plan to sell your $9,000 worth of items?
So this is what they tell you to do. They say first, because again, I don't own my own business. I'm not anything other than just an independent consultant, a salesperson selling items that I purchased with my own money, hoping to make my money back. There's no if I don't sell this, then, I'm like a newspaper boy in like the 1920s. They're like, hey, sorry, kid, you bought those papes. You got to get rid of them. Like, it's not my problem anymore. That's what it is, and you're just like, okay, great. Except that you have to follow their policies and procedures. Again, like we were saying, to keep it quote unquote legal.
Right.
So you have to name yourself LuLaRoe first and last name.
Right.
So you need like a LuLaRoe first and last name business page that's public. That's where you're going to run ads and get people to see your stuff. And then you're going to have a group where you're going to sell everything, because you can't sell it at the time publicly. You had to sell it privately, whether it was in your house or whether it was like in instant messaging, you're talking to somebody,
right. Yeah.
Someone comes over to shop, or you're in your shopping group. You can't post it publicly was the rule. It's not the rule anymore, but it was at the time. So you had to name it LuLaRoe. So mine was LuLaRoe Roberta Blevins.
Yep.
And then my shopping group, I think, was LuLaRoe Roberta Blevins VIP shopping group, or something generic and stupid. Like, it was very basic. You need to make it easy for people to find. You don't want to name it like, fancy daisies and princess sprinkles, because people are going to be like, what's the name of that group again? So they can type in LuLaRoe and they're like, oh yeah, there it is. So LuLaRoe Roberta Blevins VIP shopping group or something like that. You had to name it like that. You had to sell at MAP, which is the minimum advertised price. You could sell it for more.
Right. Yeah.
If somebody's like, oh my God, I want those, you could be like, okay, well, they're triple, but you couldn't sell for less, because you would quote unquote devalue the brand. You couldn't sell at swap meets. You couldn't sell it at any sort of like discount place. You couldn't, you could offer discounts, but they couldn't be offered publicly.
Right. Okay.
You'd have to say something like, message me for a deal or something like that. Or email this email for the special deal of the day. And a lot of people would just create like LuLaRoe Roberta Blevins deals at gmail.com. And then when you would email that, it would send a response that you would set up that says, thanks for emailing us, receive 20% off your first order or whatever. So you get like an auto reply.
Right.
So there was a lot of that kind of stuff too. Which again, like, it seems very scammy and spammy that you're trying to skirt all of these just normal, regular business practices to get by all these rules and these policies and procedures. And then the other thing is there was a lot of MLM Karens that are really, really, really like into it, who would be like, you're not allowed to post discounts. I'm reporting you to compliance.
Right.
And then you're getting phone calls going, hey, did you post this sale? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you need to take it down. And I'm like, okay. Like, you really? Like, I got phone calls from compliance saying somebody reported you for this. Is that what happened?
Okay.
And then I'd have to respond and say, well, this is what happened. They're like, oh, okay, thank you. And I'm like, what was the point? I know there was no one got in trouble. It was just a weird conversation where I was like, okay. So, you're doing these things and you're running your business the way that LuLaRoe wants you to run your business. You're posting your FOMO posts, you're posting your sales, there were so many rules. And when people are like, well, I'm just not making the money. It's like, well, how many sales are you having a day? It's like, a day? How many sales am I supposed to have a day? I thought I could like post it for the whole week. Oh, no, girl. You need to create like demand. You need to put it up and then take it down and say, you only have 3 hours to shop. And I'm like, what? And like, you need to create a frenzy. You need to create people like really wanting this. You need to be like, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to be doing this, buy something, do a giveaway. Just crazy. Like, what? Like, I just wanted to buy some pants and sell some pants. Like, I don't understand why I have to go live and like do these monkey dances and like give people things and why can't I just sell leggings? And that was the other thing. I didn't want to sell dresses and shirts. I only wanted to sell the leggings. I could sell those leggings like crazy. Like, they just flew off the shelves. It was the dresses and the shirts and everything else that were a lot harder to sell. And I was like, I don't understand why I have to sell this. Well, you have to buy all that stuff in the package. You can't just sell leggings.
Right. Yep.
I'm like, so a lot of really arduous rules.
Where did the
that
people
I should
come
have thought,
from
but I didn't.
That you were targeting? You went through your friends list and invited people to this private group?
So I went on my friends list and I invited people that I thought would be interested. I didn't invite everybody. I think that's spammy too. I hate being invited to those groups. So I was very, very like cautious of people that had been like, oh my God, let me know when you're selling it. Cause I posted like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. If anybody's interested, here's my group. Hey, I'm thinking, I'm doing this. And people are like, oh, I love those pants. And I was like, okay, I'll add you. So originally it was a little more organic. It was me adding people that I thought would like it. And then, I remember LuLaRoe was like, this is how you do it. You know, you don't have any inventory yet, but this is what you do. Reach out to somebody who has inventory and tell them that you're growing your group right now, and ask them to buy some stuff, like someone on your team, at wholesale. So you just have a little bit of wholesale, and then you're going to do giveaways in your group every week while you wait for your inventory to show up, while you wait for your phone call. Because there was a long line. They called it the queue. And so you're in the queue and you're waiting. And so while you're in the queue, it takes about 6 weeks from the time you sign your paper to the time that LuLaRoe calls you and you actually get your inventory. While you're in that queue waiting, because there were so many people joining, this is what you can do. Create those social media channels, get that group up and running, buy wholesale from somebody else, and give those things away. So now, and that's not even a cost I'm thinking of, right? That I'm now buying $150 worth of stuff from someone else and then giving it away to grow my group.
Yeah. And the whole time while they're struggling to sell their stuff, they've just finally managed to sell $150 worth of it.
They're like, sweet, I got some money. And they're going to then buy a new box with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what they probably did with it, was buy a new box with it. So then I'm giving stuff away, and it'll be like, hey, if you add, 3 LuLaRoe loving friends to the group, you'll be entered to win a pair of leggings. Right. And so people would add 3 people and exponentially, right? It grew and it grew and it grew. And I think I was about 6,000 people in my group before I even got my inventory.
Wow. Okay.
And so once I finally did get my inventory, my first sale was just like it sold so much. I want to say I made probably like $3,000 or $4,000 like in that first sale. And I was like, oh my God, this is legitimate. So it worked, right? It seemed legitimate to me because I was like, they told me to do XYZ. I did XYZ, and exactly what they said would happen happened. Now I can teach other people to do XYZ, and it should work, right? Again, we know it doesn't, but that's what all I got to do is find 3 people and teach them how to find 3 people. That's all I got to do. Who doesn't know 3 people? Well, in your warm market, as you're recruiting for this cult, your warm market, usually it's all the same people. So even if I recruited like my mom and my sister, and then like, they're going to recruit like this, it's the same recruit, like we know the same people.
Yeah.
So I think my pool is very big. Like, oh, I know 50 people. But when those people start to join, my pool gets a lot smaller because now we all know the same 50 people. And so there's a lot less of a pool to be fishing in. There's less people to join at that point. And so you run out of that warm market really quick. And the same with selling. The first 3 months or so, you're like, so much success, so good. Yes, join. This is amazing. Follow me on my journey. This is crazy. Like I'm buying Disneyland tickets and I'm getting a new car and all of this stuff. Join. And all these people are like, oh my God, I can repeat this success as well. But you run out of that warm market of people that love you and want to help you after about 3 months.
Yeah.
At that point, now you have to start cold messaging random people. And that's when it gets really predatory. And that's when it gets really spammy and scammy and culty. Because now you're reaching out to people you don't know saying, oh my God, girl, I saw your pants and they're just not as cute as the ones I sell. And I can totally help you with that. And you're just like, I can't believe I said that to somebody. You look back out of the cult fog and you're like, I can't believe that I argued with certain people or told people that they were ignorant, or like I really got on the defense, because you're taught that the haters will come. And so you need to prepare, because the haters will come, and you need to know what to say when they come. And you need to say your piece and then block them, because they are negative and you don't want their influence, because they will bring you down too. Oof. If you want to be negative, then follow them and listen to them. But if you want to be successful, then you should block them and remove them from your life, because if they don't want to be a part of your life, then they're just against you.
Right.
So you're literally taught that before it ever happens. So when it happens, you're like, this is what I've prepared for. Block.
Yeah. And at this point, are you then becoming one of those people that will take others out to fancy restaurants and say, this is what the life is now for me?
Yeah. And I was, and that was something that I always wanted to do anyway, because my dad always did that growing up. Like my dad would always be like, when the waiter came with the bill, he would just be like, here's my card,
who doesn't want to be able to do that?
Who doesn't want to be able to buy all of your friends dinner and be like, here you go. Don't even worry about it.
I actually suggested that me and like a group of 10 friends should like all transfer money into you know, when you get together for your yearly meal, and then each year you take it in a turns for that one person to be like, here's my card, just so you can,
it's your turn this year, Casey. You're like, no.
just so you can sort of, you know, and I know that sounds silly and it sounds shallow, but
totally does. But at the same time, like
in the movies, who doesn't want to just be able to have like that one experience of just sliding the card over?
Right. And, you know, and watching my dad do it as a kid and being like, wow, he's such a boss. Like, dude, like that is such a cool move to be like, I got it. And I'm like, that was like a $400 bill. And he's like, it's fine. Like, I always wanted to be able to do that for my friends. And so when you're in multi-level marketing, your team becomes your friends. They become your family. You talk to these people more than you talk to anybody else, because you're constantly working your business, so that you're constantly like, hey, everybody, what's going on today? You're in your groups talking. So you're always constantly, you create these really, really deep, I thought, deep relationships with people who you're talking to every single day. You know what's going on with their kids. You know, they have doctor's appointments. Oh, she's not going to be on the Zoom today because she has a doctor's appointment because so-and-so broke his leg. You just know these really intimate things about people that aren't shown on social media and aren't shown on Facebook. And you get to know these people on a level where you think, yeah, okay, like we have a connection. Like we have more in common than just this business. Right. And so for me, I remember being in Southern California, most of our conventions and things like that were always here in Southern California. I'm in San Diego. LuLaRoe is about 2 hours north in Corona, oddly enough. They're in Corona, California, which is just east of like Anaheim, where Disneyland is. So they're sort of like right in the middle between San Diego and Los Angeles. And so I always was very able to go to all of these things. And so a lot of my team was like, well, I'm going to fly out to California and I'm going to go to this thing because I really want to meet you. And so when those sort of things happen, I'd be like, I'm going to take them out to dinner and I'm going to pay for dinner. And so like, I would look for like really cool restaurants, or really cool experiences. And I remember one time we were all at Disneyland because it was convention. And there were a couple of girls that had hit ranks. And I had told them at the beginning of the year, if anybody hits ranks, I'm going to take you out to dinner. To celebrate.
What does that mean for those of us that aren't sure about the lingo?
Okay. So hitting ranks is just like getting to your next qualification bonus, where you open up new levels of residual income and you open up new bonus structures. And it's like, you know, the ranks in LuLaRoe, you're a retailer, you have nobody underneath you. You're a sponsor where you have 1 to 9 people underneath you. Once you get 10 people underneath you, you're a trainer. That's what I was. And then you have to have 3 trainers underneath you, which is a lot, to hit coach. And then you need 3 coaches and 3 trainers underneath you to hit the top rank, which is mentor.
Right.
These names in multi-level marketing are inconsequential. They could be Rainbow Princess Gumdrop instead of mentor, and people would still be like, oh my God, I'm a Rainbow Princess Gumdrop. You better respect me because I'm a Rainbow Princess Gumdrop.
Yeah. And I guess
they're arduous. They don't mean anything. They're
pyramid comes from.
Almost. Right. And so it's like, exactly. It's just these ranks and these promotions. So when you hit that bell and you get that prize, then that shot of dopamine makes you go, oh yeah, I'm doing the right thing. But here's the thing. It's not a promotion. You know, people are like, I'm about to get a promotion in my company. If I work for Target and I get a promotion from salesperson to assistant manager, I don't have to prove myself every month to keep the rank of assistant manager. I don't have to jump through all the hoops constantly every month to keep that rank. I'm assistant manager. Unless I really screw up, I'm assistant manager. Yeah. If I keep going great, then I become the manager. And again, I don't have to continue to be great to be the manager. I just have to hit that rank and be promoted. In multi-level marketing, when you hit a promotion, you have to hit that promotion every month, every single month. On the first, it resets. And so it's like, there's usually a purchase minimum. Like you have to buy at least this much a month. Personal. Your team has to buy this much a month, personal total. You have to sell this much a month. You have to have this many people underneath you that also hit their ranks.
Goodness.
So it's so confusing. And they're like, oh my God, our comp plan's amazing. When you get in there and you actually start looking at it, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like there was never a way that I would be able to calculate how much my bonus would be prior to receiving my bonus.
Oh, I would be like,
it's going to be about $4,000. And so then it would be like, you know, 3784. And I'm like, okay, that's about right. But I never knew exactly what it would be because there was no way for me to calculate that accurately.
And then you'd have to go to all your team, like, I've purchased my amount for the month. Have you purchased yours?
Right. And
well,
so
can
then,
you purchase it, please?
Exactly.
What's taken you so long?
Exactly.
Oh, no. Oh, are you you're really thinking about leaving because you're thinking, I need this many people to be kind of,
right. I have to have 10 people underneath me to keep my rank.
So like, oh,
so
no,
10
don't
of those
leave, you're
people
amazing.
need to hit their
Oh
thing
my
too.
goodness.
Yeah.
So you're in Disneyland, people are hitting their rank. You're like, right. I'm going to take you out for dinner.
So we go to the convention, which was in Anaheim at the Anaheim Convention Center. And I probably had 10 of the 75 girls were like, I'm coming to convention. And they were coming from like Oregon and Florida and New York, like all over, flying out, spending all this money to come to this convention. The convention tickets are like $400. None of your food or entertainment or anything is paid for. Your hotel's not paid for, your transportation's not paid for, your airfare, anything extra is not paid for. Any swag that you might get while you're there, shirts that say things, notebooks, anything like that is not paid for. You don't get anything. And you're like, oh my God, it's convention. I mean, convention costs thousands of dollars to go. It's ridiculous. And the company, it's just whatever. Anyway. So I had like 2 or 3 people that had hit these ranks and had hit these goals that they had made for themselves. And I don't know if anybody has been to Disneyland, but my very favorite restaurant in Disneyland is the Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant that's inside the ride Pirates of the Caribbean. So as you're sitting there, you're inside, it's super dark. They have fake fireflies like blinking everywhere. There's like all this like Spanish moss and these fake trees. So you look like you're sitting on this beautiful, it's seriously really cool. You should Google it. I'm sure there's all kinds of YouTube videos. Do you know what?
Pirates of the Caribbean is my favorite film franchise. Yeah, and I love those movies.
Fun.
So that sounds amazing.
The very beginning of the ride is just like you're in this log and you're floating before you see any pirates, and you're in this bayou and there's a guy like in this little boat, on the porch, like, and you just hear this banjo and you hear the crickets and you hear the frogs and the fireflies, and you're literally sitting as these boats go by about to ride the ride. And then you hear as it starts, because you can hear everybody screaming because right after they hit the restaurant, and it's very expensive and you have to have a reservation to get in there. And I love eating there. It's really fun. The menus light up. They've got drinks that have flashing lights in them because everything's in the dark. And so I thought, what a fun experience. I mean, it probably cost me like $300 or $400 to take these people. And we did lunch. We didn't even do dinner. And we went to Disneyland, and I think I helped pay for their tickets to go to Disneyland. I mean, it was a lot. And again, like sliding that card over and being like, girl, I got this. And let me help you. Like, I'm successful because of you. So let me help you so that when you're where I'm at, you can help someone else too and pay it forward. And so like, I felt really great that I was able to do that for those people. I never felt that I was predatory, although I'm sure I was. I've grappled with that for a really long time, which is why I even started my advocacy at all, was that I had so much like inner guilt for ever getting anybody into this business. So, there were good parts being in there, like the ability to pay for lunch and dinner and like buy people nice things. But again, like I also felt that pressure, like, well, when they hit that rank, you have to buy them the thing, right? And I'm just like, I don't have to, do I? But again, it's that perpetuation of the FOMO. This is what I can afford to do. You'll be able to afford to do it too, as well, as long as you work the system. And as long as you're continuing to keep the people below you working the system and teaching the people below them to work the system, in theory, the system should work.
Yeah. And what happens when you hit these ranks? Is there like an official title change, or do you receive kind of some commendation from the higher ups that kind of says like, I know that some groups will have different colored ties for different positions,
or like different blazers or different things.
So is there sort of like a physical piece of something that identifies you in moving up the ranks?
Yeah. So if you watch the Vice documentary, you'll actually see the very first trinket that you get in LuLaRoe is the gold watch. It's a Vestal watch. So it's like not a horrible watch. It just has literally the only difference is like LuLaRoe has put like their LuLaRoe brand like on the watch face. But it's just a basic gold watch. And it's 100% a status symbol. Because if you have a gold watch, you're serious, because you have at least 10 people underneath you. You've hit this rank. You're serious about this business. You're somebody that is someone to look up to. You are somebody that is important in the eyes of the company. It's just a bauble. It's just another bell to hit and another shot of dopamine. I remember getting the watch and going live on my team because I wanted to thank them, because obviously I would have never gotten it had my team not grown, because the watch is because I had a team. And so I remember I'm like, oh my God, Mama, Papa, Row. And it's just like, it's so cringy. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. But when the documentary team came to me, like, do you have any videos? And I was like, you know what, let me just add you to these old groups and you can take what you want.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
whatever narrative you're trying to show, like, go ahead.
And then,
but yeah, that's the first thing. The first thing is the watch.
Right.
And then when you hit, so that's trainer. When you hit coach, I think you get a necklace, and it's a triangle, which I'm just like, really? Like, they're literally like, haha, you're wearing a pyramid around your neck. And you're just like, look at me on the couch. So it's like a gold necklace with a gold, like an open triangle.
Right.
And all of, like, when you go on the cruise, you can also get a cruise necklace that's the same, but I think it was a different color gold. And so then what everybody would do is they would put on their chain, they'd have all their triangles for all the things that they had ranked. So you'd see people with the gold triangle necklace and you knew they were even more serious than the people with the gold watches.
Right.
Especially if they had more than one triangle on it, because that means that they had ranked, they had cruise qualified, they had like leadership qualified, they had all these other qualifies of all these other things. So they're even more fancy. And then the last bauble you get is a bracelet. And the bracelet was for the mentors. And I think it had some sort of inscription on the inside about like being super cool and fancy or something. My watch, on the underside of the watch, it says, be the kind of leader that you would follow, which really resonated with me, because that's sort of just how I've always been. Like, I try to lead by example. And so for me, I was like, wonderful. I look back on it now and I go, how ironic that you would do this and tell me to be the leader that you would follow, but you're not.
Yes.
At all. Like, how ironic. So I still have my watch somewhere. Again, I keep these things because I know. That's all.
And you'd go around these conventions and you'd see people wearing these different trinkets, and you'd be kind of like spying them out, and they're probably doing the same with you as well.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it was really obnoxious. I was obnoxious. I remember because I had hit the rank of trainer right before we went to convention. So I hadn't got my watch yet. And I was like, I'm probably going to get my watch after convention, but I was really upset that I hadn't gotten it before convention, because I really just wanted to be there and be like, look, oh, hi, like when people get engaged and they're like, look at this. And you're like, we see your engagement ring. It was the same thing, but with the stupid watch. And I remember sitting and I was talking to one of my friends, we're still friends, but she joined underneath me. And I just remember being like, you can tell who the really serious ones are if they have a watch. And she's like, but I'm serious and I don't have a watch. And I was like, you'll get there. You'll get there. You know what I mean? And being like, oh my God, like, I just feel gross that I ever said that sort of stuff. But again, you are manipulated to feel this way, and you hear it from other people and you're like, yeah, that's true. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it sight unseen. I'm going to repeat it without any additional research or resources at all. I'm just going to repeat it as fact, because everybody else repeats it as fact, and it's got to be fact, because if it's not fact, what the hell are we doing?
Absolutely. And did you start
like getting your own planet? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not getting my own planet, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
So it's like, we have to do this. The alternative is worse. Like not getting your own planet is worse than getting your own planet. So we have to keep the fight. We have to keep going.
Yeah. And I'm sure if your friend would have reached the level that you were at, she would have said the same thing or something similar 100%. To somebody underneath her. She
was really close to hitting it when she decided to leave.
Right.
And I remember going, I'm like, I know I remember telling my upline, I was like, I feel like she's going to leave. And her going, well, you can't, like, she's one of your big legs. And I was like, I know, like, what can we do? And I remember they had gone up and said, one of Roberta's big legs wants to leave. And they started stacking people underneath her. Like, I had been stacked underneath mine.
Right.
I remember getting texts in the middle of the night from my upline, the one that I reached out originally to. And she'd be like, are you awake right now? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I got this girl that wants to join. I'm going to start a chat. Send her, get your link ready. I'm going to start a chat. She's ready to join tonight. And I'm like, I don't know this girl. I've never talked to this girl. She's like, she has a personality like yours. I talked to her for the last half hour. I think you guys will get along. Oh, and I don't know who this person's. And she was right. We got along great. We still talk. We're still friends. She's also out.
Yeah.
And we still communicate. We're still friends. But
But that person,
and so that's good to me. But
it's just you to take that person on board, because she needs you to be successful in order for her
to be more successful.
Yes. So
that's why she's putting her name out there, and she's filling out they call it a tree in LuLaRoe, which is why I use that word in the Vice documentary. People in the comments are like, oh my God, she's super stupid because a tree is a triangle. I understand. When in cult advocacy, you use the speak of the people you're speaking to, or you use the terminology. And in LuLaRoe, they call it a tree. They call it a team tree. Yeah. So, she'd take out her team tree and she's like, okay, I'm here and I got these. Okay, there's a hole here, which means I need the next person that calls, I got to put them here. Because then I got to fill out this area. Once this is filled out, then this person's solid. Then I got to work on this one down here. And we got the next person that messages me, I'm going to put her down here, fill out this one. So this person can rank. When this person ranks, this person will rank. And when this person ranks, I will rank too.
That is so confusing.
It's so confusing. And you look at it, and the same thing happened even when I was in It Works. I remember my cousin's like, print up this sheet and fill out all the blank spots, and with all the people that are in your team. And any of those empty spots is where you need to either find someone to put it in there, or if someone joins you in It Works. And I don't know if this is the same, but in It Works, I think you have like 48 hours to move people. So someone could join underneath me, and I could go in my back office and go, I'm going to put her under Rebecca because Rebecca needs a person, because then Rebecca will be bigger and then I can hit my rank too. So you can move people around in It Works. I don't know the rules behind and other things. But that's how it was. So again, it's all about stacking and filling those holes, because imagine you lose a leg, your pyramid, the house of cards starts to collapse. And you have to fill those holes back in before it collapses completely. Or again, you're like at square one. And then what's the point? Now you've invested all this time and you're back at square one, and you're in the company for 10 years and you're back at square one somehow.
And you've got at the same time, you've got all this product that you need to be shifting, and you need to be making sure that you're running these groups regularly. And
that's another reason why multi-level marketing companies always are coming out with new products and are putting expiration dates on things. Like, I mean, come on. I'm the kind of person that looks at it as an expiration date as like a suggestion, right? I smell the milk and I'm like, we probably got another day or so on this milk. That's fine. It says it's 3 days past, but we're good. It smells fine. Or like the ketchup in the fridge that I haven't used. And I'm like, this expired 3 months ago, but it's ketchup. So we're fine. So in multi-level marketing, they use that whole like fear of expiration and, oh my God, this is a bad product, to get people to constantly be buying more.
Right.
Well, this lipstick is last season. You need to buy the spring lipstick. All the colors you have in your inventory is all winter and fall. It's spring now. We have all these hot pinks. You have to buy these now. Oh, I need the hot pinks because people want them. Yeah. Then I have them. Or, that shake protein's only good for 2 months after you open it. So you have to constantly be buying it every 2 months, even if you don't use it. That's not true. The expiration dates are, again, suggestions, but multi-level marketing uses that to bring more money into the company to funnel it up, because that's the money funneling is how the businesses stay afloat. And so no one's buying things if there isn't anything new. So every time you get new things, you're like, oh my God, I need to get it all. Because I can't have a party and show everybody all the new lipstick colors if I don't buy all the lipstick colors. And then I should probably have at least 2 more of each lipstick color. So when I do have a party, if someone wants that lipstick color and wants to wear it home, they can. They don't have to go on my website and buy it and wait 2 weeks to get it. They can buy it tonight. So not only am I going to buy a tester of every single color, but I'm going to buy a back stock of 3 of everything. So I have that as well. And then they're like, oh my God, we sold out. Like I was saying, and you're like, okay, but she bought 4 of every color and there was 10 colors. She bought 40 lipsticks. One person bought 40 lipsticks.
Yep. So it's and then you've got all this stuff going on with sort of like your team and needing to think about. So there's a lot of stuff to juggle. It sounds like it becomes more than like what you would do at a full-time job. Then did you start to notice people would begin to use that negative language that you had experienced at that place where you first met Deanne, and people would speak in a certain way and be a bit toxic, but you kind of pushed that aside? But then the more you became involved in LuLaRoe, did you have more of those experiences kind of where the love bombing went aside and you start to see what's underneath the mask?
Yeah. So if you're not being praised and love bombed for being amazing because you did something very basic, you're being scolded and told that you're whatever.
Right.
Because you didn't, I mean, there was a video, I think in the Vice, it says, your inventory is not stale, you're stale. Like I remember the CEO of LuLaRoe telling us the reason our clothes weren't selling was not because the clothing was bad. It was because we were stale and our customers were stale and we needed to find new customers. And I'm like, well, we don't have any customers because you basically told us to turn all of our customers into team members. So now there's no customers because everybody that was my customer has bought and is now selling LuLaRoe as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I remember him telling, he told us that we were pigs. He told us that we were stale pigs. He told us to suck it up. He says, when life gives you lemons, you suck it up. Just things like this.
Who is this guy to speak to people that way?
This is Mark. Yeah, this is the CEO, the owner of LuLaRoe, the brains.
That is,
yes, you could call him that.
An awful way to speak to people who are keeping you like rich.
Right. Yeah. He actually owns $2 million cars.
Right.
They're these like Koenig, like race cars. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He actually owns 2 of them, and they are owned by their own. They're owned by their own limited liability corporation. So if anything happens to LuLaRoe, the cars are not owned by LuLaRoe, or they're not owned by the people that own LuLaRoe. They're owned by their own entity. So you might lose one, but you can keep the car because it's owned by Ghost Squadron LLC.
Okay.
And Ghost Squadron doesn't have anything to do with LuLaRoe on paper, except they have all the same contact information, all the same addresses, and all the same board members. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's completely different.
A quick word from our sponsors, Wicked Cat Clothing. Stephanie has always loved Halloween. It is her favourite holiday. She created Wicked Cat Clothing as a labour of love for this holiday, horror movies and cats. She wants to bring her love for these things to others with apparel and accessories, and upon visiting her online store, I can tell you that this is exactly what Stephanie has done. Not only is the clothing high quality, it is respectful of the spooky season, which is sometimes hard to come by in a world that is obsessed with true crime. Listeners of this podcast are being offered an exclusive 30% off Wicked Cat Clothing by visiting www.wickedcatclothing.com and using the code TheCultVault30, all one word. That's wickedcatclothing.com and a 30% off for listeners who use the TheCultVault30. Check the store out today.
They have their ranch has their own LLC. They have this massive ranch in like Wyoming or something that has its own corporation. Their jet has is owned by its own corporation. Their cars are all owned by their own corporations. Their houses are all owned by their own corporations. It's insane. We uncovered I think they got like 30 or 40 new LLCs within the span of like 2 months.
So they're
some were like 8 a day.
Loopholes, not just loopholes with LuLaRoe, but loopholes all around.
There's a Netflix documentary, I think called like The Laundromat or something. It's like money laundering and like hiding funds. And I remember watching it and going, this is what LuLaRoe does. This is literally hiding things in shell companies and shell organizations that don't really exist except for on for paper to hide assets. So this is what LuLaRoe does. I watched it and I was just like, oh my God.
That almost
so many other people do this too. Cool.
Yeah, they're planning for the big fall, or they were planning for the big fallout.
When we collapse, all of our stuff will be protected.
Exactly. So you're obviously you've made loads of money on your first sale. Things are going well because you're building your team. Your bonuses are coming in quite high. You're shifting your stock, buying more stock. You're encouraged to reinvest most of the money you make back into LuLaRoe. Everybody's doing the same.
Yep.
What changes then? What slows down or what stops?
So I think the big fall of LuLaRoe was that they grew a lot faster and got a lot greedier than they ever had been.
Okay.
So many people and this was in like 2017. So this is like a year after I've been in. It starts gaining like a lot of speed. A lot of people were joining at the end of 2016, the beginning of 2017. It started getting really fast. People are joining faster than they can keep up. That's why they had to implement the queue. Usually you would join and within 2 days you'd get a phone call. And then with 2 more days, you'd get your stuff.
Right.
So you're talking, I'm calling on Monday and by Friday, my business is open. There got to be so many people that the queue ended up being like to 6 to 8 week wait. People saying like, what am I going to do while I'm waiting for this? Like just chomping, just waiting, just building their teams, just waiting. And that created this mass influx of people. The problem with that was the people that were already in the business, like myself, we were not able to get inventory because all of the inventory that we actually were using to run our businesses currently was being given to these new people in these inventory, like in these starter packages to start their business. And so there was shortages. I don't know if they're actual shortages, or if it was like a supply and demand scarcity scam or what, I don't know, but that's what we were told. Like, you better buy leggings when they're up because when you got to get them. So they put up like 1,000 pairs at once and then it would sell out. And then like a couple hours later, they put up 1,000, I think if they put up all 10,000, they wouldn't have sold out, but 1,000 at a time, it's like, oh my God, you have to buy it. Get as many as you can. It created this frenzy of scarcity.
That's almost what you're doing with your stock on your page.
And we're doing the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So they're doing it to us and then we're doing it to them in a different way. The scarcity. Oh my gosh, you have to get it when you see it or you won't get it.
Yeah.
And so that started happening. So when the inventory supply was going down, they had to find other ways to make more inventory. So they started making new styles to expand that. Also, here's another reason why you make new styles. When we would sell, like we'd sell like a pant, like we'd sell a legging, they'd be like, you need to buy back that legging plus one more because you need to grow your inventory. If you only have 20 leggings, only 20 people can buy leggings. You need to sell those 20 leggings and then buy 40 leggings. And then sell those 40 leggings and then buy 80 leggings because you're going to use all the money you just got to reinvest until you get to that quote unquote sweet spot, which was between 5 and 10 items.
Right.
You need 5 and 10 of every style that you carry and every size. And there was 8 sizes from extra, extra small to triple XL. So there's 8 sizes that I'm expected to carry 5 to 10 of in each style. And there was like 25 styles. So you can imagine that you're like, oh my God, I have to buy more inventory with this money. I need to carry this dresses because summer's coming and everyone's going to want dresses. So there's this frenzy of buying where you have to maintain and you have to maintain and you have to maintain. And they're doing the same thing for us. So what happened was they needed more inventory. So they started making new styles. They started buying fabric that was a little cheaper. Stuff that had maybe been clearanced out in like big warehouse factories overseas. And they're like, yeah. We'll take that, make it soft and turn it into leggings. Okay. And they're using these big, like laser cutters in like stacks of fabric, like a foot high. What happens when you cut a foot high, if anybody sews, is the fabric shifts, especially like these spongy fabrics, and it shifts. So as it would shift, things were cut too narrow. And with seam allowance, when you sew it, it got narrow. So now they're using cheaper labor to produce faster and more labor to produce faster and cheaper fabrics to get more for their buck. And when this happens, what you can expect is that the defective rate is going to go up. There was no quality control, no quality assurance. People were getting things and it's selling fast that we're just selling it through. I don't have time to take everything out and check for holes and go, there's no holes because that had never been an issue before. Holes were never an issue. Stinky was never an issue. Soaking wet and moldy mildew bugs were never an issue. And so it was like, okay, I don't need to check this. And then all of a sudden it was an issue. And I'm selling things not knowing it's an issue. And my customers are like, I got a text from a friend of mine who was a friend of mine and we were bloggers together before. And she goes, she's a teacher. She goes, there's a hole in my leggings on the backside. She's like, I can feel it. Like it was cold. I can feel it. I was like, oh God. I was like, well, keep me up to date. What happens? Like 20 minutes later, she's like, it's completely ripped from seam to seam. I have a line right under my butt cheek, seam to seam, ripped open, a hole. She's all, thank goodness I'm wearing a long shirt that covers it. She's like, but I'm at work. And she's like, now it's happening on the other leg. And then when she got home, she literally was like, it came off. Like, she's like, I'm basically wearing short shorts right now. These leggings literally shredded and tore as she walked. And so you ask LuLaRoe and they go, well, are you wearing the right size? And I was like, oh, so you're fat shaming people. You're saying, oh, well, you're too fat to wear that size. That's why they shredded on you, when it wasn't anybody's weight or anybody's size. These leggings are ridiculously stretchy. They had holes in them because they were cheap fabric and they were double brushed on this machine that makes the leggings buttery soft, which double brushing cheap fabric creates weak spots in the fabric. And they had to double brush because single brush didn't make them soft enough. They had to double brush and it created weak spots in the fabric. And you would never know opening up a thing of leggings. I mean, you get your leggings, you get a bunch of duplicates. I open up one, go, that's cute, take a picture. Everything else goes in a bin as a duplicate. Yeah. So I'm giving people in packages that I've never even opened. Like, here you go. And
this
isn't open.
And they're wet.
And they put them on.
They put them
on and they go, oh my God, this is shredding on my body. I didn't sell the wet ones, but I did get wet ones.
How, if you did, could you tell in the packet that they were wet without opening them? Oh,
yeah. So there's like clear plastic. So the first thing I noticed was that the leggings came in 2 packs and they had a specific weight. You know, you feel it, I picked it up and it was heavier than normal. Just something off. I was like, this is a little heavier. I was like, oh, maybe they used a thicker fabric, because they said that they were going into new fabric modifications and things like that. And so I thought maybe it's a new fabric. And I was like, it's very wet. It's very big and dense. And I looked at it and I noticed like condensation in the plastic. Yeah. And I was like, are these wet? And then I squeezed them and I was like, oh my God, these are wet. So I set them aside and did the rest. And then I reached out to LuLaRoe and I was like, hey, I reached out to my upline and I was like, hey, I got wet leggings. And she's like, that's weird. That's never happened before. I wonder if like your box got wet when I was sitting ready for pickup for UPS. And I was like, but wouldn't everything in the box be wet then? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, could you ask? And she's like, let me ask and see. And then 20 minutes later, no one's ever experienced that before. That's so weird. I would email LuLaRoe. Okay. So I emailed LuLaRoe and they're like, that's weird. Dry them out and then sell them at a discount. Okay. I was like, what? They're like, yeah. I'm like, can you just refund me the money? Well, they're not actually defective. They're just wet. I said, wet is a defect of selling new clothes. Them coming wet is defective. No, it's not. Dry them and sell them at a discount.
That's horrible.
Said, okay. So then that happened probably 4 or 5 more times over the course of 3 or 4 months. And every time it was like, that's so weird that keeps happening to you. Like, I've never heard it from anybody else. And I was like, yeah, I should probably buy a lotto ticket because it's happened 5 times in 5 different boxes in 5 different days, like completely different shipments. So these were a lot of questions that weren't answered because I was like, how is this happening? Where's this water coming from? How come nothing else is wet? I got wet leggings, wet t-shirts, wet dresses, different packages, different prints. I got some leggings that were so stinky. Like, it smelled like death. Oh. And the example that I used the very first time I was ever interviewed about the stinky leggings is I said, and it's sort of become like in our little niche, it's sort of become this inside joke. I said, it smelled like someone pooped in a bathing suit and then like a chlorinated pool swimming bathing suit, and then put it in a Ziploc bag and zipped it up and put it in the sun for like a week. And then you would open it up and just take a whiff like that. It was just disgusting. Like, that's the closest. Like, it smelled like rotting. I don't know. It didn't look rotted. They didn't look wrong at all.
Why isn't the whole box like that as well? That's so strange.
And that was the thing. I opened the box and I was like, something smells weird, but I couldn't pinpoint. And as I put everything away, I was like, the smell will go away. And the next day I was like, oh my God, my whole house smells like this now. Like, what is this that smells? And I'm looking in the bins and I opened up the bin that I had put them in and it was like whoosh in my face. And I was like, it's in here. It's in this bin, whatever it is. And I went through and it was 3 pairs of these dark coral red, orangey red leggings. And so I put them in a poly mailer, like a bubble mailer from the post office that like seals. And I sealed them and I wrote stinky leggings and I put them in my defect box and was like, I will deal with those later. Anyway, like 2 years later, I found them after I had left LuLaRoe and I opened them up and they were just as stinky as the day that I put them in the bag. So I don't know what it was. And also I felt really weird. I got lightheaded. I didn't feel well. My hands were shaking. Okay. And right after that happened. And I was like, I took a video of it and I was like, I need to to go outside.
Wow,
I
wonder if it was like the chemicals they would dye in the leggings with.
I have no idea. But nobody could help me. Everyone was like, I've never smelled stinky leggings. And I was like, come over. My whole house smells like it. Like you could probably smell it from the driveway. And so they were like, well, you should open up a ticket. And so I opened up a ticket in the back office, and there was literally a drop-down menu that said stinky leggings. Like that was one of the options in the drop-down menu. It only was there for about 2 or 3 days. And I was like, it's clearly a big enough problem that you've put it as the drop-down menu. I wish I would have taken a picture, but at the time I didn't think any of this would be evidence in anything. I was just like,
what's going on?
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. I honestly believed that they had my best interest at heart because my best interest fueled their best interest.
Yeah.
But my best interest didn't fuel their best interest. Literally anybody buying from them fuels their interest. So it doesn't matter if you're being successful. It doesn't matter if I sell everything. Because it doesn't matter. It only matters that I'm buying more. So great. Yeah. Sell everything so you can buy more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if I'm actually selling it as long as I'm buying it.
Yep. And the fact that you're receiving defective clothing and you're not receiving.
And they're refusing
money back. Yeah.
Refusing to work with me on it.
And then you're continuing to buy stock despite being given defective things.
Well, here's another scam that happened. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. So there was another scam within the scam that was a back office credit scam. So when you went to order anything on LuLaRoe's back office, you'd have to buy 33 items. This is the same as like buying Scientology books or any other cult literature that you need to buy. So you go to buy and it's a 33 minimum order because it's just easier. We give you free shipping and this is the most cost-effective way to do a big box. And if we didn't do big boxes, you'd have to pay for shipping and it just works out better this way. Again, another answer that on the surface makes total sense. So you had to buy 33 items. So you'd buy 33 items. And in the beginning, if anything was back ordered, you get a back order slip and they would send it a few days later. And you're like, thank you very much. No problem. And I would check it off and say, this has been resolved. Moving on. Mm-hmm. Eventually, there were so many missing items that they couldn't keep up with it. And what they would do is items would be missing and you'd get your box and you'd count and you'd say, hey, I ordered 33 pieces and there's only 29 pieces. Where are the other 4 pieces? And they were like, we were out of stock of those. We are so busy. We don't know when we'll be back in stock, but we have gone ahead and credited your account for those 4 pieces that are missing. So you can go ahead and use that credit in your back office for the next box that you buy. So then instead of just getting the 4 t-shirts that are missing or being able to just buy the 4 t-shirts that were missing with the credits, I have to now purchase another 33 items to get my 4 missing items.
Gosh.
So, and a box, I want to say like the minimum a box would be like $350 was like the minimum.
That's ridiculous. And that sounds like it's definitely being done on purpose.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, and here's the other thing, illegal in the United States, if you want a refund, if you buy something, and this is just consumer advocacy that I've learned, but if you buy something and the person is not able to produce the goods that you purchased, that person legally is obligated to offer you a refund on your original payment first.
Yeah. Or if you go out to a restaurant and you're like, I didn't order this steak medium, I ordered it rare, and they've brought it out in its medium, you don't pay for that.
Right.
Or they substitute your meal for a different meal.
Right. So legally, they should have said, we're going to credit you this $72 to your original account. And then I would use that $72 later when I ordered. But a lot of people, like, here's the thing. A lot of people would say, well, I'm just going to save my back office credits. And then it's like a free box. And I was like, it's not a free box. Paid for that. It's a box you've already paid for. It's not free. None of this is free. You've already paid for it. It's prepaid box, not a free box. Yeah, I'm going to have a free box here pretty soon. I'm like, you don't have a free box.
Yeah.
And that was a very vicious cycle of people like, you couldn't get your money back. You had to spend more to get your money back, or it would sit in there and they wouldn't give you a refund. You couldn't ask for a check. I think unless you threatened legal action, like, I want my money. They're like, fine, just write her a check. Like, just give her a cookie. Shut her up and move on. But we don't need her to be looking into anything more. Just give her a cookie and move on.
That's like when you get satisfaction guarantees from the supermarket or something, and then you open your tin of peas and there's like a
chicken foot in it.
Yeah. And you're like, do you know what? For 62 pence that I spent on this tin of peas,
it's not worth me going all the way, you know, through the hassle of getting that 62p back. Or you go and you buy a dress without trying it on because you're in a rush, and then the dress doesn't fit. Or it has a hole in or something, and you're like, do you know what? To go all the way back where I bought it from and find the receipt and, you know, and take it back and get my money back. And then they say, oh, actually that was in the sale, so we can only give you a voucher.
Right.
You know, we can't actually give you cash. Like, in this day and age, because of instant gratification, people can't be bothered to go to them and say, like, I'm threatening you with legal action unless you give me all my money back.
And it was such small amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it'd only be like 100 or less, like just a little bit.
They're betting on people not being like, oh, it's only $70. I'll just, yeah.
And it's like, well, I really need to use that $77. So I think I'll spend $350. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
They just got you to spend $300 more.
And there was
and then new products always constantly coming out. It was like, oh my God, if you don't get the Halloween leggings, then no one's going to buy from you in October because that's all people want. So you better make sure that you get those Halloween leggings and get as many as you possibly can, because no one's going to want anything you're selling if you don't have those. And then you compare them with other things and make sales and do. So then you have this pressure to like sit on the computer and refresh, trying to buy leggings. I mean, it was like trying to get tickets to like a Harry Styles concert where you're like, oh my God, refresh. Like, why can't I get in line? And it was a nightmare. So then the whole day you're sitting on the computer, refresh in chats with your team going, has anybody gotten in yet? I got in. They're out of this and this and this. Here's a screenshot. And it's just this panic and this frenzy.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And it's just this high.
It's
just creating this. And that's the thing with multi-level marketing is the demand is internal. Multi-level marketing is a fixed system. Most of the products that are sold in multi-level marketing either have no demand at all. There's a powdered celery powder, like dehydrated celery from It Works. And I think it's like $48 for this stupid, you know, bottle or like tub of powdered celery that you just mix with water and it's celery juice. And I was like, celery's $1.
Yeah.
Like organic fresh celery is like $1. Like, why are you spending nearly $50 for a powdered version? Well, then I can put it in my smoothie. You can also put fresh celery in your smoothie. Like, what? Well, this is shelf stable. And I was like, go to the store more than once a month then. I mean,
yeah. And also the water that you're putting with the powder is already in the celery as well. If you were to blend the celery, you would get celery and water. So there you go.
And so it's like these multi-level marketing creates products that have no demand anywhere. I'm like, how many people were demanding powdered celery? 0. But it becomes this, oh my God, you guys, I don't even know I needed it, but we have it. And then people are like, oh, I need to buy it. I was like, why? Yeah. You've created this false demand and you've created the supply as well.
Yeah.
And so people spend hand over fist going, again, like the lipsticks, like I'm going to buy one for me to try. And then I'm going to buy like 10 extra in case anybody wants to get it. And the companies are like, we sold out again. And you're like, again, only the people within the fixed system bought it. It never made it to any other consumer hands. And if it does make it to other consumer hands, it's very rare. And most of the time, those consumer hands end up being distributors for the companies as well and joining the scheme as well to get the discount or make a couple $100 extra or pay for ballet lessons or whatever it is, whatever they're, you know, and everybody goes into it thinking, I'm going to make $1 million. Like, this is the answer to all of my prayers. I'm going to make $1 million. And when you only make 100, the answer, instead of being like, well, I thought I was going to make $1 million and I only made 100, I should probably quit. They say, I don't know where you're from and how privileged you are, but $100 a month is a lot for me. And I'm like, whoa, all I'm saying is you could have made way more than that at any minimum wage paying job. Most people in multi-level marketing, 99.7% of people in multi-level marketing either break even or lose money.
Yeah.
And these people are making less than minimum wage. Like you could go to McDonald's or Starbucks and get a basic minimum wage part-time job and get benefits, vacation time, sick time, 401k, you know, any of these companies that you get in deep enough, you get these benefits. There are no benefits like this in multi-level marketing. The benefit is you work for yourself, but you're not, because you don't control the supply. You don't control the demand. You don't control the product. You don't control the pricing. You don't control the scandals and the lawsuits. there's nothing in these companies that you as a quote unquote independent business owner control at all. There's always a finger in the pie saying, no, you can't say that because that's technically illegal and you could get us in trouble. So if you say it again, we're going to have to terminate your business. How do you own your own business if someone else can terminate you at any moment?
Yeah, it was interesting about something mentioned in the Vice documentary with that type of information control as well. When you posted in the group, you mentioned that you posted in the group saying, hey, I've just received this box and there's 2 or 3 items in here that, you know, are wet or smell or have holes in. Has anybody else experienced this? And then the post was taken down and then you were sent a private message saying, you can't say things like that because we're not allowed to be negative.
Yeah. So really, like what she basically said to me was, you know, you need to be a little more mindful. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here because we don't talk and I'm sure those messages are deleted by now, but, you know, you need to be really mindful about what you say because there's a lot of people in this group that haven't signed on yet. They're still in the queue. And if you talk negatively about the company, it might scare them into not joining.
Good.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, and there were things like, hey, I this was wet. Anybody else experience this? What do I do? Or, hey, I ordered a box 2 weeks ago and it still hasn't shipped. Has anybody else experienced this? Totally normal things that anybody in a normal business would be like, hey, shipping's kind of slow. Can we look into this? Sure, boss. That's a normal response in a business, not shipping's kind of slow. Can we look into this? Excuse me, but you really shouldn't say that in the group because it's negative and everybody is going to get scared. So please don't say that. Thank you very much. Like that's not normal.
And that is definitely information control as well.
Yeah, absolutely information control. Yeah. The BITE model is, it fits right in with multi-level marketing. I actually did an interview with a friend of mine. She has a YouTube channel called Not the Good Girl. And her and I sat down. She was on my show and I was on her show and we did the BITE model both ways because her and I are both like, oh my God, these are cults. And we broke it down and went down each letter and said, okay, give me 3 examples you experienced while you were in yours. And she was in Beachbody and she's like, oh, you know, image control, what I can eat, what I can say. I was like, we were controlled on what we could wear. I wasn't allowed to wear jeans. I wasn't allowed to wear anything that wasn't LuLaRoe. If you wore something that wasn't LuLaRoe, it was like, I'm sorry, why are you not wearing LuLaRoe? And I'm like, well, the shirt is, but you need to be head to toe. You need to be wearing at least 3 items or more.
With you body image as well, wasn't there something about encouraging women to go to Mexico and have surgery to have body modification surgery?
Yeah. So I've talked about this before. I you know, I'm the kind of person like whatever you want to do with your life is fine. My personal opinion is maybe don't make, in terms of weight loss, and this is only in terms of weight loss, don't make humongous decisions before you can grasp all of the consequences of them. I've had friends that have had weight loss surgery that say to me, I wish I would have never done it. Like I can't eat food normal. I have bad GI problems now, like so many issues. And so Deanne goes down to this place in Mexico and I'm sure the facility is wonderful. It's called Obesity Not For Me and it's down in Tijuana. Dr. Michelle or whatever his name is, I'm sure is a lovely doctor. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to like weight loss shame people that need it. The problem is that these people were going down to Mexico because they were told in California or in the United States that they weren't eligible for weight loss surgery. Basically, like you don't need this invasive surgery. So you go to Mexico because there's less regulations in terms of who does and doesn't need the surgery. And it's cheaper. There's less everything. There's less everything in another country when you get these surgeries. So Deanne, the owner, her sister, Lene, who has a t-shirt named after her. And this is all stuff you can Google. It's all true. Nothing that I'm not, there's no alleged, this is actually something that's happened. She would message you and say, hey, you know, let's get you down to Dr. Michelle and get the weight loss surgery. And then you'd say, okay. And she'd say, okay, we have an opening, you know, February 10th. And you're like, all right, let's get you in, you know, that's in 2 weeks or whatever. Let's get you in. Okay. It's you need to send me $5,000. So then you PayPal Lene $5,000 cash and she takes her $1,000 cut, her 20% finder's fee, and then sends the $4,000 via PayPal to the facility. And she books you. And then with Leanne or with Lene and Deanne, you then fly to Corona and you board LuLaRoe's private jet. And as a group, there's usually more than one person. I want to say they take, again, I don't know, because I wasn't a part of it, but they take a good amount of people. They load that jet up. You fly down to Tijuana. It's like a half hour to an hour flight. It's very, very quick. It's right over the border. You get your weight loss surgery. You stay in the facility like for the day, and then you fly back to Corona, and you can stay in Deanne's house for the night, and then you leave and go home the next day. So you're flying almost immediately after having very invasive weight loss surgery. And they're doing the bariatric. I want to say they're doing the sleeve procedure. I don't know. Again, I wasn't down there. My friend Courtney, who was in the documentary, was pressured to get it. She's a beautiful woman. She doesn't need to have this unnecessary weight loss surgery. But if you watch the documentary, I know her story in and out. I mean, her and I have been through the ringer with this company, but her story is that she wanted this surgery, and her doctor said it's not a safe surgery with your medications that you're on. And if you really want a surgery, I recommend this one. And although, there could still be complications, and she had complications and she almost died. And instead of the chat telling, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you, they're like, I told you that would have not been the good surgery. When are you going to come down to Mexico and get the real one?
Right.
And, she was harassed constantly about that. I know if I think off the top of my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 people that I was friends with in LuLaRoe got the surgery down in Mexico.
That's
at least 8.
Such an obscene amount of money. I was approached that this finder's fee as well is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, there's a conflict of interest. Like, sure, come on down. I would love $1,000. Like they turned weight loss surgery into like a multi-level thing as well. They love to get their little cut of everything. I just want my cut. That's all I want. It's just my little percentage. That's all I need. So yeah, I mean, I was approached when I was on the cruise. I was gifted the cruise. I didn't earn it. I was gifted the cruise to go. And one of my friends had the surgery, and I didn't know she had it. And I approached her, and she's out too. And I go, oh my God, what did you do? And she's like, oh my God, it's not my one. And she's like, hey, this other person, come on over and tell Roberta all about the surgery. And she's like, oh, I had it too. And I was like, you had it too? And they're like, yeah, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, let me know if you want more information. And I was like, I think I'm good right now, but thanks.
Yeah.
And so part of me was like, oh my God, they thought of me. And then the other part of me was like, oh my God, they thought of me.
Yeah.
There was always this, like, should I be offended, or should I feel like good that they thought about, like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this. So
like 50-50,
that was like the only time that I was approached about it. But again, like, I don't qualify for weight loss surgery in the United States. So had I wanted to get, this, I would have to go to Mexico. And I was like, that's not something that I want to do. I like food. I didn't get these curves from eating carrot sticks. I kind of like my curves. Like, I'm into it. I haven't had any complaints yet. So I don't know why I need to change myself. I love myself. I don't need to do that. But there was definitely a point where you're like, maybe I should get the weight loss surgery. If I got the weight loss surgery, maybe I could be on stage more. And if I was on stage more, people would take me more seriously. And if people take me more seriously, more people will want to join my downline, and my team will grow, and I'll hit the next rank. So it's like, you have this, like, and it's all a fallacy, right? None of it's true, but it's the way that you're told, and the way it's structured, and the way that you feel. For anybody to tell me that hasn't been deep in a multi-level marketing company, that they aren't cults and scams, like, just hasn't been in deep enough. I didn't think that It Works was a cult because I wasn't in deep enough. And I didn't think that the other one was a cult because I wasn't in deep enough, but I was with LuLaRoe for a little over 1.5 years. I mean, I think officially 2 years, but I left and stopped before officially, but in terms of like signing to signing, getting in and getting out, I think it was like 2 years. But I was a lot deeper, being in Southern California, being close to everybody, having the opportunity to be at these events and meet the home office and see Deanne. I mean, I met Deanne so many times. It was just like, hey, at that point, it wasn't like, oh my God, that's Deanne. It was like, I see you. Like, she's like, hi. Like, I was friends with, like the head of advertising and the head of everything, like the guy that does the planning of the parties, the guy that does the trainings, the guy that was working with the new people that were coming in. Like, I was friends with all of those people. I talked to those people. I hung out with those people. I started seeing weird stuff happen, which led to my own disenfranchised feelings of this company and the false idolhood. And like, even on the cruise, like people following around home office, like, can I get you a drink refill? Oh my gosh, you're going to swim in that pool. I'm going to swim in the pool with you. Is that okay? Like weird stuff where I'm just like, this dude is like a dad with 2 kids. Like he's not a celebrity. No one knows who he is outside of LuLaRoe. He's a nobody in terms of anything that doesn't have to do with LuLaRoe. Why are you so obsessed with impressing him so much?
So what happens to get you to finally look at all of these things and say, oh, I think it's time for me to maybe move away? Like how and why did you leave LuLaRoe?
So the beginning of 2017, I was starting to feel that way. The comp plan was about to be changed. I had heard some rumors that we had been operating illegally and we needed to change the comp plan to get us into like legal compliance with the Federal Trade Commission. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And so that was like a little like, are we illegal? Well, yeah, technically, yes. But like we had to do it this way so that like we could do it this other way, but like we had to set up this way first. So it's totally fine because like we're working toward being legal and it's just sort of the way that we had to do it. Like if that makes any sense at all. And I'm like, it doesn't though. That's what?
Because I've been breaking the law. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was like, okay, so I'm complicit in this. That's awesome. Cool. Glad I put my money and energy
name all over it.
And trust in you. Great. So, there was an implication, people started leaving because of this. Like, oh my God, this is an illegal pyramid scheme. We're changing our comp plan. People started leaving. I don't want to get stuck in this company. I don't want to lose money. So what LuLaRoe did was they decided to implement, and I'm sure if you've seen the Vice documentary or heard me talk about things, the 100% buyback plan. It was this brilliant idea from Mark, who's so smart and brilliant, that we were going to create a program that was called the 100% buyback. And the 100% buyback was that you could join LuLaRoe with 100% risk-free. That you could join LuLaRoe right now for $5,000, 100% risk-free. If at any time in your LuLaRoe journey, you decide this business isn't for me because they believe so strongly in the company, you could send all of your inventory back for 100% refund, risk-free, join us. You'll see it's not a scam. You'll see it's amazing. 100% buyback, no problem. What they thought would happen would there would be a ton of people joining going, it's risk-free, I'm going to join. And that did happen. But what they didn't anticipate was all the people that were in and were already feeling disenfranchised would say, this is my opportunity to get the fuck out and get 100% back. And so as many people came in, people started leaving. And so everybody's team started crumbling. And so everybody started panicking. And this was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I've never experienced this. Like, what is happening? Like everything until this point had been totally fine and everything had been working, I thought, and everything was really great. But things started to crumble and things started to fall. And my people are like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it's a lot of work. I feel like I do way more than I'm getting back. Like, I feel like I'm working 40 hours additional a week and I'm only making like $1,000. And it doesn't really seem that I'm really making any good money. And there's a lot of expenses that I wasn't really thinking about. And I'm doing I'm doing the math, and my CPA looked at my numbers last year and then they just said like, you're not making any money and I just need to go. And this 100% buyback, I'm just going to leave. So everything started crumbling. And then I was like, oh my God. And I started seeing it. And then people started speaking out. People were speaking out and they were talking to this one girl who was a blogger. And she started speaking out. She was one of the first people to actually speak out against LuLaRoe. She did it in a way that wasn't so great because LuLaRoe did come after her. So I saw that happen and I was like, ugh. My team was like, do you know who this blogger is? And I'm like, no. And they're like, can you look into it since you were a blogger? And I was like, do you think that only bloggers understand bloggers? Like, I was like, I don't understand what this means. So I was like, sure, I'll look her up. And she was like a .wordpress, you know? And I was like, well, you know, she doesn't even have like her own hosted website. Like she's using a freebie. She doesn't look like a serious blogger. And this was of course coming from my, she's a negative Nancy like attitude. I was like, she doesn't really seem like she's like legitimate. So I don't know. And they're like, okay. So I looked and I read one of her posts and I was like, holy shit, is this true? And so I was like, well, she's got this post about XYZ. And And like my upline was like, yeah, that's a total lie. Okay, cool. Like she's just a hater then. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, they're like, good. Thanks for investigating that. Now you never have to read it again. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to read it every day. And so like, I started reading her blog every day, and I was reading all these accounts of people that had left and were speaking out about what had happened to them. And they're talking about the wet leggings, and they're talking about the stinky leggings, and they're talking about the intellectual property theft, and they're talking about the fat shaming, and they're talking about all of these things. And I was like, oh my God, I heard these things, but I was told they were lies. And now I'm reading the firsthand accounts of the people that went through it. And oh my God, are we victim shaming and victim blaming? What's going on? Like these people are actually having problems. This is not okay. And like the empathetic person inside of me was like, this is not all right. I need to figure out what's going on. So I just really started paying attention. And this was after the cruise. I had come back. I was already kind of like about it. I come back where I had just seen false idol worship and people being creepy and gross. I remember sitting in a jacuzzi, and those big round jacuzzis on the cruises, they echo, and you don't know they echo unless you're talking. And so I'm sitting in there like with my friend, and we're being very quiet, and these girls are on the other side, and they're just mad shit talking about something. Oh, I can't believe that she would wear the rose print Carly that I said I was going to wear, and she wore the same outfit to the party, and I just can't even be her friend anymore. She did that. You know?
My goodness.
Just like,
yeah.
And I'm looking at my friend, and we're just like, holy crap, what the hell? And so I was like, wow, that's toxic. Like that's toxic mean girl sorority crap. I was like
first world problems kind of
right.
thing.
You're like, you're unfriending someone because they wore the same outfit to the same. Okay. She knew I was gonna do that, and she did it anyway. What kind of person is that? You know, and I'm just like,
there's limited things you can all wear anyway, isn't there? Because you all have to wear like the brand.
So like those sort of things started happening, and I was like, I just opened my ears a little bit more. I was like, I'm not gonna leave yet, but I'm just gonna be a little more informed.
Yeah.
Started Googling things, reading things, watching YouTube videos. I started realizing that most of these people were victims, and like people really were really being affected by this, like on a personal level. People on my team that were friends of mine, actual friends of mine, that were like, Roberta, I see that you're doing this. I want to do this too. People that I were friends with, that I like, our children played together, and like we exchanged Christmas gifts, you know, like those kind of people had joined my team, and they're like, I'm going to lose my house. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, I can't afford my mortgage payment, and I'm already too behind. And I'm like, why are you just telling me this now? Like, what is going on? Well, I thought I could float it, and then I opened up another credit card because then this thing came, and I thought if I bought 100 of them and I sold 100 of them, then I could get enough money to do this. But now I'm just like, oh my God. Okay. Stop buying things, start selling at wholesale. Just go into the wholesale groups with other people and sell as much as you can wholesale, get as much of your money back as possible, make your mortgage payment. What is going on? And then someone's like, oh my God, my husband and I are fighting so much about money. I can't do this. I think we're going to get a divorce. I think there was like 2 girls on my team that got divorces over the financial aspect. Like, how dare you spend all this money? Like you're just running our credit, like just rampant. And it's like, I'm just trying to do what I thought was best. Like what the people above me were telling me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm complicit in this. Like I'm allowing this to happen. Yeah. I'm creating a space where negativity isn't allowed. So they're not telling me, Roberta, I can't make my mortgage payment this month, until they're like, I'm about to lose my house. And I was like, this can't happen. This is not good. And it just like the scandals were coming up. There was an intellectual property theft where they were stealing prints. They were literally just like going on Google and taking people's art and putting it on leggings. We found leggings that had people's watermarks with their names on it. And we reach out to these people and say, this is intellectual property theft, like sue this company. And they were suing and settling all these things and getting money for these artists that had been just like stolen from. And I was like, what is happening? This is not okay. This is real. This is proof. Like people have proof. I'm coming to my upline. I'm like, this is proof. And she's like, I really don't know why you're in those groups, Roberta. Those groups are just filled with haters that just want to tear you down. And I was like, but this is proof. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. Yeah. And she's like, I can't believe that you would do that. Like, I thought you were loyal to this brand. And I was like, I'm trying to be, but the answers you give me are not the truth. So I have to look for external truth. And I'm finding way more than you probably wanted me to find. So you probably should have just answered truthfully, because now I'm finding so much more than you could have never even known. You don't even know this is happening. And I'm finding it. Firsthand accounts on Reddit of people being like, do not mess with this family. They are a family of scammers, and just like in Utah, like they owned businesses where they didn't pay people. They had like slip and fall lawsuits to get money, like just scamming and scamming and scamming and scamming. And these people are like, stay away from this family. They're a nightmare. Like, and I'm just like, where was this in 2015?
Yeah.
Why weren't people saying this in 2015? How come I couldn't find this then?
That is something that I was going to mention.
There was racism, there was sexism, there were so much victim blaming, so much. There were people that were like, I can't do this. I've lost so much money. Like people were like thinking and contemplating suicide is the best way. Like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like I've ruined everything for my family. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, don't do that. Bankruptcy is an option. Like, don't do that. Don't make any permanent changes. Please be in the right mindset before making these decisions. And it was weighing so hard on me. I decided I can't do this anymore. Like I as people were leaving with the 100% buyback, they're sending all their stuff in. LuLaRoe's claiming up and down, we're not sending back the returns to people. We're not repackaging returns and putting them in boxes. I said, great, because those people have been in for years. Like, I don't want 2015 and 2016 stuff. I want 2017 stuff. I want what's actually coming off I want what's new, what people are looking for. I don't want old stuff I've already had and sold.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're not doing that. We would never do that. We would never do that. These are all brand new items. And I'm opening up boxes and going, this is old.
Yeah.
This has someone else's inventory sticker on it.
Yeah.
This is not brand new. I had this a year ago. I sold this a year ago. How am I getting this again? How am I getting 2016 summer prints in a 2017 fall box? What is going on? So I had the actual proof in my hand, and I was being gaslit to be like, no, that's not what's going on, Roberta. And I'm all, but it is. Like, what do you mean? Like, being gaslit by them and knowing that they were just going to continue to do it and just continue this horrible cycle. I made a meme that I think is still one of my favorite anti-MLM memes I've ever made. It's a LuLaRoe one, but it had their logo and it says LuLaRoe. It's never our fault. And every single word is misspelled. So it's like ITS with no apostrophe. And then never is like the V and the R or whatever. And then our is ARE. And then fault, I think, is also misspelled. So it's like, it's never our fault. And it was just like, it's so true, because if I did anything good in the company, it was because LuLaRoe afforded me the opportunity. And if anything bad happened, it was because I let the haters win.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's the same psychological abuse. And so I was like, I'm done. I'm leaving. I typed up this, I went and I messaged my upline and I said, I think I'm done. I had lost a bunch of people. I had rearranged it. I knew it wasn't going to happen. The comp plan was changing. It was unsustainable at this point. As a legitimate business, it just didn't work. As a pyramid scheme, it did, but I mean, as a legitimate business, it just didn't work, unfortunately. As I found out. And I was like, I can't be associated with this company anymore. I need to speak out. I told her I was leaving. She goes, let me talk to you on the phone. Biggest mistake. I sat on the phone while she basically berated me for 45 minutes saying, like, you can't leave. Like, Halloween is coming. Christmas is coming. All the nightmare before Christmas. We have all this stuff. All this stuff is coming. Like, you're going to miss all of it. And if you miss it, like, think about all the money you could make. Think about all the money. Don't your kids want a good Christmas? Don't you want to make all that money so that you can spoil your kids for Christmas? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm done. Like, I can't suffer the psychological abuse. I don't like this. Like, I'm done. I'm done being told that I'm lying. I'm done being told that I'm negative because I'm trying to help people. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of this business anymore. And she goes, just stay until the end of the year. Give it until the end of the year. And I knew I just had to tell her anything to get off the phone, because it didn't matter what I was going to say, is she's still going to convince me. So I got off the phone. I said, fine, I'll stay to the end of the year. And I go home and my husband was like, what do you do? And I said, I decided to stay. I don't know why. And I typed this like goodbye letter and we posted it. And I was like, it's done. Like, it says like, hey, and I was very, very cautious because I had seen other people leave, and like the girl that was the blogger, like, whatever. So I was like, I really don't want any problems. I said, LuLaRoe just doesn't work for me. I still love the business. I still love everybody, but it just doesn't work for me. Something to the effect, because I knew I didn't want to be labeled a hater or anything like that. I tried very, very tried to leave very quietly. And within like 15 minutes maybe of me posting that, it was less than an hour, I don't remember, my phone started blowing up from my upline. How dare you do this to me? How dare you betray my trust? You said we agreed. And I'm just like, we agreed, we said, we decided. I'm like, this isn't about you. And I said, and I did tell you, we had a 45-minute conversation an hour ago. Like, you knew this was coming. I told you on the phone. You said you'd stay. And I was like, I changed my mind. I would have, you should have told me that. And I'm like, again, I did. I told you.
Yeah.
You refused to listen is not my fault. You refusing to listen to everything that I said that was completely legitimate is not my fault. If you decide to stay in the scam and be complicit, that's on you, but it's not going to be on me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then all my other uplines are coming down. You got to talk to Roberta. She's about to leave. My upline above my upline, her husband starts FaceTiming me. Oh, and I was like, I don't want to talk to you. Well, you need to answer my phone calls. It makes me sad when you don't answer my calls. And I was like, you're gross. Oh, stop. Yeah. Like, no, enough. My upline above that was like, girl, I understand how hard it can be juggling a family and a business. I get it. I will always be here for you. You're such a cool girl. And I remember like going to message her again, and it was like, you can't talk to this person you blocked. And I was like, oh, okay. So like I experienced all of that as well.
Yep.
But leaving was a lot more difficult. Not necessarily just like signing off, but I tried to leave LuLaRoe after I said I was leaving. And it took me like 4 or 5 months to actually leave, because they didn't want me to leave, because me leaving would have messed up a bunch of different legs and things would have collapsed. So me just even being there as a placeholder was better. I tried to like leave on the website, and it was like, this website's temporarily down. I emailed and they're like, use the website. And I was like, oh my God, the website's down. And I couldn't leave. All I wanted to do was speak out. And I was like, I am not speaking out until I have no legal attachment to this company. I want to leave. And around like December, my upline came to me and she goes, I know you're not working with LuLaRoe anymore, but like, you're still on my team tree. And I know you're thinking about leaving. Are you actually going to leave? Are you going to resign? Like, how's that going? And I was like, I've tried and I can't. And she goes, okay, well, I have a proposition for you. And this again solidifies that these companies are pyramid schemes. And she says to me, I have somebody on my team, like on the same level as me, that wants to be a leader. And she was wondering if she could pay you $500 to transfer the remaining of your team to her. Right. And I said, look, I don't care what you guys do, but I don't want to do anything except sign my name. So if this is something you want to do, you need to write the letter, you need to reach out to the company, you need to get the approval, and then you need to email it to me where I can sign it and be done. And then I want my money. So send me the money and then I'll sign it. That's all I'm planning on doing.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay. And she's like, well, if you sign, then you will be resigned from LuLaRoe 100%. And I was all, dude, win. Like, yeah. I get money and I get to leave. She gets this team that she thinks is going to save her. And this person keeps her rank or whatever. Win, whatever. Again, I did those kind of things because I needed the money. I wanted out. And I thought, this is my chance. And I thought, you know what? Like, once I sign this, because this was like December, or it was either December or January, like right on the cusp. And I said, starting in 2018, like, I'm hitting the pavement, like hell hath no fury. Like, nobody likes to be wrong. And I was incredibly wrong. And so I'm going to educate people as to why I'm wrong and help them figure out why this is bad. And we're going to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And is this all tied into why you have kept certain items of Lulu or like of the brand?
Yeah. So I started to see the rot for what it was worth. And I was like, I'm just going to keep this stuff just in case anybody calls or anybody comes knocking. Almost immediately after I signed that resignation letter, I was approached by, at the time, the anti-MLM community, which is what I'm a part of, was very small. It was kind of unheard of. People didn't know what it was. People were like, what's anti-MLM? Like, I don't even know what that means. Oh, you mean like pyramid schemes? Like, why weren't you already anti-MLM? And I was like, it's a lot deeper than just being like, that's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
It's educating why and how and when and where. And so for me, I was like, yeah, I'm anti-MLM, but like way more than you are, because like, I want to know why these happen and why they're legal and how we got here and why we can't get away from them. And so there was a group called Sounds Like MLM But Okay, and they had a podcast, and it was the Sounds Like MLM But Okay podcast. It was the very first interview I ever did. And it was me talking about my experience with LuLaRoe. And that was like literally the single snowflake that created the avalanche. Was someone else heard my anti-MLM podcast and related and said, oh my gosh, it was this girl who was starting a new podcast. And she was like, I'm a part of this podcast competition. I need to come up with a pilot episode. I heard your Sounds Like MLM But Okay podcast interview. Oh my God, I want you to be this person. I had to go to like the NPR studios here in San Diego and like record professionally in a radio booth. It was really cool. And I was like, this is my life now. It was like crazy. And she actually ended up winning the podcast competition. It was called An Exciting Business Opportunity. I don't know if she ever did anything with it, but she did win the competition with my episode. Awesome. So I was like, oh my gosh, which gave me even more attention. And then at that point, there was a lot of like talking in the business world with Business Insider and Bloomberg News and things like that, talking about the business aspect. So they were hearing all these rumors, and LuLaRoe was in and out of the news for being a scam and a pyramid scheme allegedly, and all these lawsuits that people were like mounting behind them. And this girl, Haley Peterson, she writes for Business Insider. She joined our Facebook group and she's like, I'm interested in writing about LuLaRoe. And so anytime anything crazy happened, she would write about it for Business Insider. And she would come to us and say, give me your inside scoop. And so I was interviewed a bunch of times, Haley, and was always like one of her sources, and we'd give her all this information. And then once Business Insider started talking about it, then Bloomberg came and they said, hi, we're Bloomberg, and we want to come to your house and take pictures of your inventory and interview you. And then that Bloomberg article led to more podcast interviews and more YouTube shows that I was on, which led to like more things. And then Vice reached out to me in 2018. I want to say it was like October. So like almost 2 or 3 years before my very first initial anything with LuLaRoe came, like so 3 years later, Vice goes, I think it was like, it wasn't 2000. I think it was. And they go, we want to tell your story. Like, we've been following your news articles and we want to tell your story, blah, 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 blah. So we do that. And I thought, it's a little fluff piece, like nobody's going to care. Like, I'll share it in my anti-MLM group and my anti-MLM community with all my other advocates. And we'll be like, yay, it's a win. I think I got like 4 million views in like 2 or 3 days. And it just was like so crazy. And all of these people that was another weird thing. Like, people are friend requesting me, like strangers. I was like, who is this person? There was a lot of Huns that came in. We call people that sell in multi-level marketing Huns, because they always say, hey, Hun, I'll message you, Hun. I have an exciting opportunity for you, Hun. So we call them Huns. And then, so there's Huns, which are just people that are in. And then there's Hun bots, which are the ones that are like, hello, I noticed that you have a great Instagram feed. You would be perfect for my business. It's just like very copy paste.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the Hun bots, because they're like robots. And then we have the mega Huns. And the mega Huns are the people at the top that know it's a scam, are complicit in the scam, know it's a recruiting scheme. Right. And those are the people that I fight. I don't care so much about the Hun bots and the Huns, so much the mega Huns and the owners of these at the top, because like I said, 99.7% of people lose money, break even, or make less than minimum wage. And so for me, 99.7% is most likely victims as well. People that have been bought into this scam and told what to say and told, if you work the system will work for you, and it doesn't. And so for me, when I see Hun shaming in groups, it breaks my heart. I understand, like, make fun of the product or make fun of the ridiculousness of like, look what I can do. Don't make fun of the person. This person was lied to. This person's in a cult. This person is a victim. And for me, like, my advocacy is just like trying to really help people get out of that. Yeah. And that's sort of where I've been. So like, from Vice, I think Vice really launched this anti-MLM community, or this anti-MLM like community and movement into like the stratosphere, where people were like, oh my God. And people reach out to me constantly and they're like, I saw you on Vice and you changed my life. And I left Lime Life, or I left Avon, or I left Amway, or I left Mary Kay, or I left LuLaRoe.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, what? And they're like, yes, I just wanted to tell you, like, you changed my life. Thank you so much for opening my eyes. Like, I had always been told these were pyramid schemes. And it wasn't until I heard your story and connected with your story that I realized I was stuck in a cult too. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, I originally started speaking out because I had helped 75 women get in the business, and I wanted to help 75 women open their eyes and get out. And I stopped counting when I hit the thousands. Like, I've helped thousands. It's insane. And it's just from that video and the documentary and the advocacy that we've created going forward.
Yep, absolutely.
And on the other side of things, that I'm not in the media, I also work with law enforcement. I worked for the last 3 years with the Attorney General of Washington, Bob Ferguson, and his team to help bring down LuLaRoe in a pyramid scheme lawsuit. I was an expert witness. A lot of my evidence, in fact, the evidence of selling my team was actual evidence in that case of LuLaRoe being a pyramid scheme. The other evidence that's my favorite was a video of Deanne's son, Jordan, on a Zoom call training, saying, we've got to get away from being a pyramid scheme because we're a pyramid scheme right now.
Wow.
So that was the other piece of evidence that was very damning. And then the whole like selling of a team proves that recruiting is the main aspect of this, and getting more people in to bring more money in. And so I worked with the Attorney General. I was supposed to take the stand. I did my deposition over summer and via Zoom. And I was supposed to take the stand actually like 2 days ago. But LuLaRoe settled 2 weeks before trial.
Okay. So you're building up to it and you're ready to go, and you're like, we're
gonna do this. I'm gonna face them again, and it's gonna be great.
You're like, oh, okay.
And I got the phone call from the Attorney General's office the night before the press release came out, and they said, Roberta, do you have like 5 minutes? And I said, yeah, what's going on? I thought for sure we were going to talk about getting me ready to take the stand. And he goes, so I have some good news. LuLaRoe just settled for $4.75 million. And I was like, holy what? He's like, yeah. He's like, thank you so much for, 3 years of your work and being available to us and helping us. I tend to be the person who is able to find the person people are looking for. So a lot of these anti-MLM lawsuits and podcasts and things, they'll come to me saying, hey, we're looking for somebody that was in this and experienced this. Can you find this for us? And so I've helped a lot on the backside of things, just helping other people be connected to the media. I mean, my story is out there. It's been told so many times. I get sick of hearing it. I'm like, Roberto's a LuLaRoe. We get it. Like she talks about them now. And, if people are going to do what they want to do, regardless, people are going to join companies they want to join regardless. People are going to join cults and groups and communities, whether they want to, whether you give them information that's accurate or not. I'm trying to end the stigma of failure in an industry that's literally designed for you to fail.
Yes. Yep. And I think that's definitely come across in the way that you've presented yourself and explained your story today. And the way the methodology behind these types of businesses that are set up in this way to make that happen, even the 100% satisfaction guarantee or buyback scheme that was put in place is put in place as a way to attract customers and attract people to come and join, but is also actually a way for the company to save face, to save themselves.
Right.
So it's
like, look at what we're doing. We believe in you so much. So we're going to give you 100% guarantee.
Like cloak and dagger, like look over here, but actually what's really happening? Stab. Yeah, it's over here.
Drink the Kool-Aid. It's not laced. But then, what even happened was like in July, I want to say July or September, in that area between July and September, LuLaRoe realized that this 100% buyback was not a good idea. And even though they had told everybody it wasn't going anywhere and had told us it's not going anywhere, continue to recruit, continue to get people to join it, it's not going anywhere. The next day after they had told us this, they were like, yeah, we're ending it. Effective now. And you who were about to send things in, you're screwed. And you who sent things in, you might be okay. We can't guarantee anything. And they ended it. And everybody was like, what? And I think that was, I mean, the day that I would have never gotten anything back because of my bonuses, but the day that I planned to leave LuLaRoe was the day the buyback was announced had been ended. Because I remember I had been added to a get your full refund back group on Facebook.
Right.
And then 2 hours later, they're like, this group doesn't mean anything now. Like they're not refunding anymore. And there was new stipulations, and I had made enough money that I didn't qualify for any of that. You know, most people lose money in LuLaRoe. Most people lose money in multi-level marketing. One of the pieces of evidence in the case was that I had bought $78,000 in inventory, and I had sold 83,000 of it. So my business, because I was selling and then buying more to grow and grow and grow, kept itself afloat with, you know, a $5,000 gross. But when you put in the racks and the hangers and the mailers and everything, the printers and all of the things and the giveaways and everything that I added on top of that, I broke even or lost money. But because I was a leader and because I got bonus checks, I made over $65,000 in bonus checks in LuLaRoe. So I did make money, but only from recruiting. My business made nothing. My recruiting made $65,000 in 18 months. So, which is a salary for most people.
And how can they say that the recruitment isn't the driving force behind the business plan?
When they presented that as evidence, and LuLaRoe's like, here are your numbers, Roberta. I was like, okay. And they're like, this proves, where's the money? Where's the, you bought this, but you only sold this. There's $40,000 missing. Where's that money, Roberta? And I was all, it's in my garage. Like, it's in inventory in my garage. Like, what do you mean? I said, how does this prove anything? You're using this as evidence against me? Because this literally proves that you're a pyramid scheme. On top of buying my team from me, on top of saying you were one, this proves everything. Like absolutely. This is 100% proof. So like, I thought it was a little ridiculous that they used that as evidence that they weren't a pyramid.
Well, I'm just glad that you know, even though they settled, that's public record now, isn't it? So you know, one of the things we always say at the end of these episodes is that, you know, people will talk about how therapy has helped them to recover. And a lot of people will say, you know, just do your research. If you're thinking about leaving, just do your research, which obviously at the time you had the forethought to do your research. There just wasn't anything available at that time. So that particular piece of advice didn't serve you well at that time. Obviously, it's still an incredible piece of advice that should be followed for anybody that is thinking about trying to leave their movement or their group or their multi-level marketing scheme, and hope that there is something available online to support your doubts and things. But
there's such a huge anti-MLM community now that I think if you were to Google any of these companies, you would find accurate information. You can look at their income disclosures, which they're not even legally required to have, but you can look at the income disclosure, all of the facts and statistics that I spout constantly. It matches that. It always goes back to that 90% loss, 99% loss rate. It's usually, I tell people, which is really funny, you know, you think a 99% loss rate and people continuously join these companies. Just to put it in terms of what that loss rate looks like, if you were to gamble in a casino, in any game, the loss rate of gambling is 95%. And the loss rate of multi-level marketing is 99%. These companies are protected by the government. The same entity, the FTC, which, by the way, the reason I think the FTC is in charge of multi-level marketing is because they cannot bring across criminal charges. They can only bring across civil. Right. They would have to be looked by the SEC or the FBI to bring across criminal. So already FTC can't bring across criminal charges on any of these companies. But here's the other thing. The people that pay the FTC, like the people that oversee the FTC's budget, the people in Congress that oversee the FTC's budget, their campaign donations are paid by the Direct Sellers Association, which is a lobby that is pro MLM, that is paid for by big companies like Herbalife and Amway and all these publicly traded marketing companies. There's billions and billions and billions of multi-level marketing dollars in Wall Street. If we were to make them illegal, we would have like a crazy economic downturn because billions of dollars would just be ripped out of the system because these companies are illegal. So I don't think a lot of people realize just how hand in hand the government that's supposed to protect us from these scams is actually complicit in these scams themselves. So I know that on this level, these cults and they'll never be investigated by the government, like seriously. It'll always be a slap on the wrist and a restitution payment of some sort. And they'll continue to multiply and work because the government has protected these companies. The only thing that I can do is to educate by sharing stories and talking to people like you, so that people stop joining them.
Absolutely.
Because there's no way to get rid of the companies. It's impossible. It really is. It's eye-opening, the amount of politicians that have their fingers in multi-level marketing. Donald Trump, Betsy DeVos, Ronald Reagan, even the Clintons. There's so many of these like high people that, you know, we're just so complicit in the scam and keeping it legal. So
and I think that leads us kind of perfectly onto my last point before we end the call, just because I'm 5 months pregnant, so I'm gonna have to run.
Probably very sleepy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to run to the toilet in the next 5 minutes or so.
Me too. I'm like, my bladder's tiny.
But my last point before we finish, it comes full circle really on the advocacy work that you are doing, because I wanted to let the listeners know about your show, which is now live. So you have your own podcast now. So would you like to tell everybody about this? I mean, this episode's not going to come out until June time because I have I've got a huge backlog of episodes. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the podcast is and the things that you have in the pipeline that people might be able to, that might already be available by the time this episode is released.
So actually there is something that's coming out hopefully this summer. So hopefully I've already been sharing trailers and snips and things for these things that are coming out that I've been working on for the past couple of years. So there's a lot of this year, 2021 is such a huge year for the anti-MLM community. Not only did we have that big pyramid scheme lawsuit that was just settled we're in February now. So the beginning of the month, we have, I've started my podcast. There's a big group of us that are anti-MLM creators on YouTube, Instagram, on just the main areas that all have this same feeling of wanting this cohesive message in the anti-MLM community. And that's compassionate, education-based information so that people can get the right information and be able to make those decisions for themselves. So we actually opened up our own 501c4, which is, it's a nonprofit that deals with like political activism and community education. And it's called the Anti-MLM Alliance. So hopefully by the time this comes out, we do have some stuff. We literally just started it. But we'll be able to accept donations and be able to run ads and like actually have some some political advocacy behind this and get people to understand really the seedy underbelly of these companies and the cult aspects. It all comes back to the religious indoctrination and everything the way that is. Ponzi-nomics by Robert L. Fitzpatrick, who is the head of the Pyramid Scheme Alert organization, is a fantastic book. If you want to know like the really deep untold story of multi-level marketing, it really is fascinating. My entire book is highlighted at like every single page. I'm like, oh my God. Oh yes. It's crazy. I'm actually going to be interviewing him on my show too. So hopefully by the time this comes out, it's already happened. But my podcast is called Life After MLM. It again, ending that stigma of failure in an industry designed for you to fail. If you fail in multi-level marketing, you have succeeded in the plan. The plan is to bring that money to the top and to pad the pockets of the people that started the scams. So I hate that people don't ever talk about, there's nobody that's ever not been affected. I ask people like, you mean like pyramid schemes like Amway? I'm like, yes. Like, let me tell you a story about when I was So there hasn't ever been anybody that I've met that's like, I don't know what those companies are. Everybody's affected, whether you joined one, you were scammed by one, you bought way too much, you got stuck in an auto ship, your mom sold it, your sister got scammed, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. Like it's there. Everybody's affected. These companies are just disgusting little like parasites that just weasel their way into everything. So I want to end that stigma of failure. We all failed. We all got scammed, and talking about it and sharing stories that are relatable. I hope to sort of create this awareness, like I said, so people stop joining these companies and be like, hey, have you heard Roberta's podcast? Because she talked about this exact thing.
Yep.
So I'm going to be talking to survivors and hearing their stories so that you can relate and go, oh my God, that happened to me too. I'm not alone, which I think is so important, especially with mental health. I am going to be having a lot of experts like Robert. Another friend of mine is a very like anti-MLM compassion education based therapist and counselor. And so she's going to come on. We're going to talk about the mental health of that. And then we're also going to talk to other anti-MLM advocates and see where the movement is moving forward and what we're working on behind the scenes to bring this message to really a global scale. Like I don't necessarily like want to be the Leah Remini of the anti-MLM movement, but like someone needs to be. And if it's not me, then I hope it's one of my friends, or I hope it's us collectively as the Anti-M Alliance, because it is really, really, really important that we have this database so that when people are thinking about joining these, they can realize and go, oh my gosh, these are really predatory and manipulative. And like, I don't have the mental health right now to get into these companies, or I don't have, I'm not there right now. It takes so much. I had panic attacks and PTSD and everything leaving. And it was just really, I'd never been in that situation before. And I really would never, ever, ever hope that anybody ever had to be in that because of a company they thought they were doing best for their family. And so,
I mean, you're paving the way for this, you're on your journey of whistleblowing. You're paving the way for this advocacy to take place. So I think you're in a really strong position to be that vocal point for this. And you've got your Life After MLM podcast, which is going to be just another way that people can access information about life before, during, and after MLM. You've come here today and given me so much information that I wasn't sure
this is
about.
A 3-part episode.
You've come here and given me, just so much amazing information. And I feel like anybody that comes to this episode and has the same sort of reaction that I had when somebody said, oh, you have a podcast about cults and, new age movements and new religious movements. And so are you going to cover multi-level marketing or pyramid schemes? And I said, well, why would I do that? And somebody said, well, why wouldn't you? So I went and did a little bit of research and came back and was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? That's a really good question. And I think you've come here today and given everybody the answer to to that question. So I guess all that's left to say really is thank you so much for your time, Roberta. I wish you the best with your podcast. I know it's going to be amazing and so successful, and I really can't wait to see the type of journey that you go on with all of this work. I think it's incredible what you're doing. So thank you so much for your time, Roberta.
Well, thank you for your kind words. Like, that's so sweet. I this is, for me, I do it because I want to make a change and an impact. And, what I have coming out this summer is probably one of the biggest things I think it is definitely the biggest thing I've ever done, but maybe one of the biggest things that's even happened in this movement. So I'm very excited. If you want to talk to me and do like a special extra episode when that happens,
I'd love that.
I will come back and we can do a little extra episode.
I would love that.
You do my little press junket. So yes, I'm very excited about where all this stuff is going and what's coming and what's next. And thank you again so much. Thank you for giving me an audience that I don't normally have to talk about a cult that most people probably don't know exists or actually is a cult. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely
the huge umbrella of multi-level marketing and all their mini baby cults underneath.
I just think it's really commendable the work that you're doing. Anybody that advocates for anything, anybody that comes and speaks to me on this show, I'm always like, thank you so much.
Right.
Just
I'm like, you'll talk to me? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the attorney general was like, Roberta, like, thank you. Like, when it was over, she was like, thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And she's like, I wish I could get you restitution. And I was like, I don't even live in Washington. And she's like, I know you did all of this for no other reason other than helping others and like getting your message out. And I was like, dude, if we could open up 49 more cases,
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, my friend was scammed, contact your attorney general, write to them, complain. The squeaky wheel will get the grease. The evidence and the investigation has already been done. Yep. New York, if you complain to your New York attorney general, like New York can come to Washington and go, hey, we got this complaint. You did that. Yeah. Here's all your evidence.
And they can see that there is a potential for the lawsuit to have the impact.
And so we can open it up. $5 million restitution isn't a ton of money in terms of it, but when you open it up to 50 more states, and it's 250 million is a little bit more.
It's where you're taking that money from. It's where that restitution money comes from. That's the big thing, isn't it? Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, Roberta. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. I really appreciate you and your time. Thank you. Bye.
It was lovely. I'll see you soon. Bye.
That is the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to get in touch, you can do so by emailing me at cultvaultpodcast@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at cultvaultpod. I'm your speaker, Casey, and this has been the Cult Vault.
Attention foodies, Discovery Plus has what you're hungry for. With new original series and a supersized collection of favorites, Discovery Plus has the largest collection of food shows anywhere. With new exclusives like Bobby and Chata in Italy and Luda Can't Cook. The streaming service for everyone hungry for more. More cooking, more competition, more originals. All for only $4.99. Discovery Plus is the streaming home of food, plus so much more. Start your free trial.
Lowe's knows you work hard to take on the toughest jobs, so why not treat yourself with savings on the top pro tools that work as hard as you do? Head into Lowe's today for pro summer savings and get up to 30% off select tools and accessories. Lowe's is the home for great values on the most trusted brands like DeWalt, Bosch, and Metabo HPT. Shop in-store or on Lowes.com. Lowe's, the new home for pros. While supplies last, valid through 7/7, U.S. only.